Good morning. It's now time for another edition of Freedom with Steve Nichols. Brought to you in part by Sam Dennis Law, personal injury attorney, methodical, prepared, and battle ready. And by Kilby Family and Cosmetic Dentistry, dental care for the whole family. Now, available on Facebook, YouTube, Discord, and freedomnetworks.com each weekday morning from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Here's your host and last best hope for freedom, Steve Nichols.
All right, good morning. Welcome to Freedom with Steve Nichols here in the SGAwater.com studio. We're here every Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Go to SGAwater.com. Schedule your free water test so that you'll know what's in that water. You drink it, you brush your teeth with it, you cook with it, you bathe in it. Your pets drink it. You need to know what's in it. And Michael Weisenbaker and Glenn Burgess, they do a great service by coming out free of charge, checking your water, telling you what's in it. If there's an issue, they'll provide a solution for it. Y'all can discuss that. But y'all call them today, 229-251-1100, or go to SGAwater.com. We do the pledge and the prayer to kick off our days here on the show, and that's brought to you by Ross Automotive. They're located at 432 Connell Road right here in Valdosta, Georgia. For all your automotive needs, if there's something wrong with your vehicle, take it there first, no matter what it is. They're open to 6 p.m. each and every day. They do oil changes, service, all automotive repair. They give a 10% discount to everyone serving in the military or who has served in the military, free brake inspections and things such as that. And also, he's got a place out back that's a secure, fenced-in area. If you find yourself in need of parking a camper or trailer or boat there or anything like that, talk to him about that. Again, Ross Automotive, 432 Connell Road. Let's go to the Lord in prayer this morning. If I can get my hat off my head. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this Thursday, Lord. Thank you for being in our lives, providing us the way to inherit the kingdom that you've prepared for us, Lord, all by our faith and our belief that you sent your son, Jesus Christ, to die to cover us of our sins, Lord. Please give us the bold energy and confidence to go tell someone else about you and your son, Lord. Give us that confidence. Get us in church. Get us prayed up. Get us built up to where we can have that conversation and save someone's soul, Lord. There's no greater effort that we can partake in here on this planet. Lord, I pray a hedge of protection around everyone going to and from work this morning, Lord, everyone traveling on the interstate, everyone driving to do their job, Lord, whether it's deliver goods or some sort of freight to and fro, Lord, those on the highway. I just pray that for their safety, Lord. Pray for our children going back to school, Lord. Cook County starts up tomorrow. Other schools starting up next week, Lord. Just be with these children and these educators as they go about that business, Lord. Give these teachers a spirit of energy, Lord, so that they can teach our kids and protect them while they're away from us and keep them out of harm's way. Lord, I pray for people who are struggling with their health this morning, Lord, those who are sick and in need of miracles, Lord. Will you grant them and their families the peace and the comfort knowing that you are in control, Lord, and your will will be done. And I pray that you comfort those and grant them peace, Lord. Be with us as we go through this day. Help us knock down our challenges and help us celebrate our victories. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Now let's say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Thank y'all for tuning in this morning. It's 6:05 as we kick off this day. The Valdosta Transmission Hotline is online, 229-469-1417. So if you've got something you want to call and talk about, you can get on it this morning. Still got that runny nose, so y'all please bear with me as I still battle these allergies. It's getting old. But thank you for each and every one of y'all, tuning in this morning. Good morning to everybody on Discord, Facebook, YouTube, the website. Go ahead and mention this. The website, we have posted some articles on there. There's articles by David Penny. There's articles by Sarge. Articles by Dr. Spencer Price. Larry's got some articles on there. I think I'll be writing one or two soon. We'll see what happens. But again, if you're interested in possibly writing, give us a shout. you can send me an email or something on Instant Messenger. My email is askstevenichols@gmail.com. Again, that's ASK Steve Nichols at gmail.com. All right, official business. Ron DeSantis' spokesperson promises a major announcement today that will spark a liberal media meltdown. So speculation has ensued as to what that will be about. His spokesperson says that it will be about business. It's not a campaign issue. It's strictly business. So we wait to see what is coming out of the camp of Ron DeSantis. Good morning, caller. You're on the Valdosta Transmission Hotline. What's on your mind today?
Morning, sir.
What's going on, Glenn?
Man, running behind, trying to get to work.
You always running behind lately.
Yeah, I know. When you put in 12, 14-hour days,
Yeah,
it's kind of hard to get jump started in the morning, but it is what it is. We're just gonna roll on with it.
Especially towards the end of the week, it starts catching up with you a little bit. That's what it does to me, anyway.
Yeah, man. Today and tomorrow, I already know it before I even get to the doggone trip. My daggone that seat's gonna be feeling like concrete, and then mile markers are gonna be about 2 miles apart. But
that's right. Oh, good stuff.
That's what we do, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was calling in to. I know me and you had a minor discussion about it. Gonna let everybody know. I'm grilling some Boston butts for my grandson's birthday party this weekend. So none of these what I've got is not for sale, but I did wind up with one extra, and come up with the idea about auctioning it off and donating whatever money we make to Wade Stalby's charity. I can't remember the exact name of it, but it's for veterans and cops.
Yeah, Vets and Cops Outdoors.
You probably know.
Vets and Cops Outdoors.
Yeah, that one.
Yep, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't talked to Wade about it, but I'm pretty sure he wouldn't turn down the money.
Nah, he'll be fine with it. Yeah, no doubt about it. So.
That's right. But yeah, I'm just gonna be grilling the Boston butt. We're gonna auction it off, on Steve's show. And the money, whenever whoever winds up being the highest bidder, just contact Wade directly and arrange payment with him.
Right.
That way that way I really don't have a dog in the fight except for just getting over to you with the meat.
That's right.
I don't like to brag about my own cooking, but if y'all were at Steve's meet and greet a couple years ago, I did those, and this is. They're lightly seasoned, and this ain't no Chinese Smithfield Walmart hog. This is locally grown. It comes from 5 Ashes and Hayhire, and to be honest with you, 2 weeks ago this old gal was walking around.
That's right.
So it's fresh. And maybe we can make Steve. Maybe we can make Wade a bunch of money off of this thing. But. However, it is auction. So if you wind up bidding $2 on it, we'll give him $2.
That's right.
Let's turn this thing out and this. It ain't really about the food; it's about the cause. But
that's right.
Steve, well, is my buddy any good?
Well, let me tell you this. You're not the Freedom Cook, official Freedom Cook by accident. You earned that title through many taste tests. And I've had many meals prepared by Glenn, and he is the Freedom Cook. So I can personally vouch for the tastiness of said Boston butt. And I will start the bidding off. I'll bid $25 for it. So that's the first bid on the board. So anybody that wants to bid on that, the money will go directly to Vets and Cops Outdoors. It is a charity that Wade Stalby, one of our listeners, heads up. He takes veterans and police officers on hunts and fishing trips all over the country. I think they've got one planned for, Ohio this year, if I remember correctly. But he takes them, he gets them out there, gets them out into the woods, and kind of gives back and celebrates their service to the country and their service to the community. So it's a great, worthy charity, a great cause, and I appreciate you coming up with that, Glenn. You did that on your own, and just shows what kind of person you are. You're thinking about others, and we want to step up. So anybody's got a bid. Open the bid's $25. Anybody that wants to top that, have at it. And you can bid right here live on Facebook. You can send me a private message if you don't want anybody to know who you are. Or don't want, some people want to keep their charity private, but we'll make sure that the Boston Buck gets to you, and we'll make sure that you know how to get the money to Wade. So, again, anybody that wants to do that, Brandon Blanton's on the board for $26. He just blew me out of the water there. So, y'all,
thank you, Brandon.
That's right. So y'all bid on it. Let us know.
Let's go, Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon. That's right. I hope he loses and loses big. I hope he loses by hundreds of dollars myself. But, appreciate it, Brandon. But anybody that that's got a bid, y'all just get it to us, and we'll take them there. It's kind of a unofficial, low key thing. We don't usually do this, but I thought it was a great thing, and appreciate it, Glenn.
We'll run the bidding through the end of the show tomorrow. If that's all right with you.
Sounds good to me. That sounds good to me.
And as far as the getting they'll be done around noonish on Saturday. It would be easier for me if you could ride out to the Tularosa and pick them up like sometime between 12 and 1. But if I need to, I guess I'll be. The Tularosa is in North Lowndes County, and the birthday party is in South Lowndes County. So after they get done, if you want to meet somewhere in Valdosta, I can meet you up somewhere and get with you as far as delivery. So
yeah, don't worry about getting it. I'll step up there too. If it's where Glenn can't get it to you or you can't meet, I'll be around on Saturday. I can get it to you. John Carroll's in for $30. That'd be convenient. He lives right around the corner from you. So if John wins it,
thank you, John.
That's right. But I hope you don't win at $30. But thank you, John. Thank you for the bid. So appreciate that. But yeah, we'll make sure you get your meat. Don't worry about that. So short of having to mail at UPS, right. But we'll get it there if it's within reason. So, but I do appreciate it, Glenn.
Not a problem, brother. And that's all I got for this morning. Right now, I just now pulling up to my wagon, so we're gonna jump off over here and let somebody else have it. And man, let's go make some money for the cops and vets.
10-4.
Appreciate everybody so far.
Yep.
We gonna see you back.
Have a good, safe day. See you later. All right, 229-469-1417. That is a great gesture that he's doing for a great organization. So y'all step up and help if you can. Again, Ron DeSantis will be making that major announcement sometime this morning. If y'all are looking on other media while you're listening, you spot it. It happens before I get off air. Let me know. We'll make sure we report it, but it could come after I leave. So we'll talk about it tomorrow. China has, they decided to retaliate by blowing up a bunch of water around Taiwan there. Very threatening action there. So, to me, that's all. It's pretty comical, but hey, they're doing what they do. Matt Sermons is on the board at $32, so the high bid is $32. I'm gonna have to get me a pencil and start keeping up with this, and as best I can. But Matt Sermons is at $32. We'll write that down somewhere if I can get me a clean piece of paper here, or at least a clean black back of one. That's just how I roll. Brandon's at $32.50. Come on now. Y'all killing me now. Don't do that. This is for charity. So Brandon, basically what you're saying is you're willing to throw 50 cents more into a charity. I'm gonna just go ahead and shame you on live air. But if y'all gonna go that route, make it that tough on me, that's fine, because it's a worthy charity, and that's what I'm doing. John Carroll's at $35. Thank you, John. All right. $35 for John Carroll. I'm sure Brandon will say 35 and a quarter or something. You're killing me, brother. Killing me. All right. What else? Anyway, China, all that bluster, we're going to create a bunch of fire. You can't burn water, China. I'm just telling you, can't burn water. But anyway, some precision military strikes in the water. Okay, there you go, Brandon. Now you're stepping up now. Now Brandon says $42.50. Now we're getting somewhere, Brandon. You have restored my faith in you, brother. Renee says, no shaming on my friend Brandon. No, I ain't shaming him in a bad way. This is a friendly way, Renee. So anyway. All right. So what do y'all think that the DeSantis announcement is? I'll read some of the quotes from the spokesperson. They're trying. I don't think it's a presidential type announcement based on her words. After a user mentioned DeSantis's lead in internal polling, Pushaw, who was the person that posted the Twitter thing, responded that the announcement would be an official one and not about his campaign. So that seems to be not an announcement about his presidency, but yet a policy announcement, maybe. I don't know. Craig Peter says, so what's the bid on? I just came on. Glenn is cooking a Boston butt on Saturday. He had, or some Boston butts on Saturday. He has one extra, so he decided to cook it and auction it off for charity. And that charity is for Vets and Cops Outdoors. One of our very own listeners, Wade Stalvey, heads that charity up, and it's a great organization. And so the top bid is $42.50 right now by Brandon Blanton. And we want to auction off. All the money will go to Wade. So y'all please step up if you so desire and support that charity and Glenn's effort there. So thank Glenn for doing that. So right now we've raised $42.50. Brandon says he don't even eat Boston butt. Well, I knew something was wrong with him, Glenn. That ain't even American right there. How do you not eat Boston butt, for God's sake? Richard Todd says, Craig, I believe it's $850. I wish it was. Do you bid $851, Craig? Let's see. 229-469-1417. Don't get me all confused, and I'll be getting either too little or too much from the wrong person that gave the butt to the wrong person. That shoot, I might eat it myself. I don't know what happens here. What else is in the news? I'm trying to scroll. Universities embrace academia's woke insanity to crush free speech. I don't care to hear nothing about that. Good morning, Mike Crown. Speaking of Boston butts and meat, tomorrow is the pickup day. Saturday is the pickup day for the meat at Crown Produce. They're doing Boston butts, ribs, chickens, and it's excellent. So I don't know if you didn't get your order in. I guess it's a little bit too late, but you missed it. It's good stuff there. But go by there on Saturday and get your barbecue sandwich and a barbecue Sunday. They will have them out there, and that's worth the trip. 229-469-1417. Climate change proposals putting American food supply at risk, says dairy farmers. Let's check that out. A fourth-generation dairy farmer fears that possible climate initiatives could threaten independent farmers and their ability to provide for U.S. food supply. Several nations have imposed regulations on the agricultural industry, such as limits on nitrogen emissions, which have sparked backlash from farmers in those countries. The Biden administration, too, has indicated it aims to push changes in the industry to tackle climate change. Americans are feeding into this lie that climate change is because of agriculture, and climate change is not going to get better until farmers and ranchers do better. Americans are feeding into that lie. In 2020, the EPA estimated that 11% of the U.S.'s total greenhouse gas emissions come from the agricultural sector, compared to 27% from transportation, 25% from energy, and 24% from industry. President Biden, in his first congressional address, floated paying farmers to grow cover crops, which are planted to cover the soil rather than for harvesting. Now, what the hell are we going to eat, Joe? Golly, this is just stuff like this just irritates me. What they're going to do is they're going to end up putting so many regulations and so many restraints on farmers that they finally decide, it is not worth it. It's not worth it to grow corn and soybeans and peanuts. We'll just grow cotton. What's the problem with that? We'll have plenty of underwear, but we won't have any food. It's maddening. So y'all keep putting policies on there and keep not listening to the farmers. And then we're going to wake up one day and we're going to be in a major, major, major situation with a shortage of food. Nash fears the efforts to implement green policies across the globe will continue to kill off an already struggling farming industry that's faced with skyrocketing costs for labor, fuel, seed, and fertilizer. She said institutions like the World Economic Forum are scaring us with its prediction that by 2050, the global population will demand 70% more food than is consumed today, and advocates for an overhaul of food production to meet the supply. So we need more food, but we're going to put more farmers out of business. It doesn't sound like we're going in the right way, in the right direction. So anyway, Missouri Sam Club worker held for added service amid shortage supply chain woes. Speaking of Walmart, they laid off or are going to lay off a bunch of people. Walmart confirmed Wednesday it is laying off corporate workers as part of a restructuring process. We're updating our structure and evolving select roles to provide clarity and better position the company for a strong future. Now they've cut back in cashiers. We all know that. Now they're cutting back in the corporate office. Why? Because of it seems that the public is cutting back, so it's cutting back on their profits. So they have shareholders to satisfy, right? If the shares start dropping, then those shareholders might bail out, causing a collapse of the company. So that's what they do. They try to cut back and then save costs while keeping the doors open. So we'll see what happens with that. This article says, I'm a Democrat, and here are 3 reasons why we'll hold the Senate. I've been watching this shape out a little bit, and I think that there's a good chance that the Democrats will not only hold the Senate, but they may gain seats in the Senate. And part of that reason, I'm not sure I'm willing to hang all the blame on the Democrats, but I do believe this plays a significant role in it. In these states where the Democrats went out to the polls en masse and voted Republican, they're celebrating it in some of these states, Georgia included, where they're happy that Warnock is running against Herschel Walker. That many of the Democrats went and voted for Herschel Walker. In some of these other states, you can see the results of how this has worked. In I believe it's Arizona, the Mark Kelly's campaign, for instance, has raised $13.6 million last quarter, compared to only $827,000 for Blake Masters, who is the Republican nominee. And in Arizona, there was a major push to get Democrats to the polls to vote for Masters so that Kelly would be assured to run against Masters and not some of the other people. Same thing in New Hampshire. Maggie Hassan raised over $5 million in the second quarter to only $538,000 for Chuck Morse, the state Senate president. That's a big difference, $5 million to $538,000. And even in Georgia, where Herschel Walker did fairly good raising money, he raised $6.2 million, but Raphael Warnock has raised $17.2 million. So you're going to see a huge discrepancy in advertising, which may or may not translate into votes, but it does seem to give the added advantage to the Democrats in the Senate. All right, Mary Williams, that's what I'm talking about. She's got company this weekend and really does need the Boston Butt. So since it's a fundraiser and it's for a good cause, Mary is up for paying $75 for the Boston Butt. Mary, thank you so much. That is awesome right there. And that would be very convenient for Glenn in delivery, since he would be migrating from North Lounge to South Lounge to the party. So that would work out good. Again, he's going to have it ready around 12 or 1. So we'll see how that works out. But right now, the winning bid, or the high bid right now, is $75. The bids will go from now until tomorrow evening. So thank you, Mary, for doing that. But I hope, again, not hoping any ill will towards Mary, but I hope she loses, because I hope somebody bids a lot more. That's what it's for. It's for a charity, a good cause. And I know Mary would agree, but it's okay to want the Boston Butt too, right? 229-469-1417. Thank you, Mary. All right, let's see here. Unprecedented volcano eruption leaves NASA scientists stunned. You can read about that. I did read it. It's in Tonga, where I don't know where Tonga is, but ain't nowhere near Hahira. Suspect mistakenly freed in Lady Gaga's dog theft. He was recaptured. Definition of insanity: leaders in Dem Run City slam liberal policies as crime wave hits fever pitch. You always got to read this. This is it's always interesting to watch Democrats lobby for certain rules and regulations, get them, and then start fussing about it after they're implemented because they didn't work and they backfired like most everybody else told them it would. New York City Mayor Eric Adams, police slam bail reform policies amid arrest for repeat offenders. Definition of insanity. New York City Mayor Eric Adams and police department heads slammed the state's bail reform laws as insane and dangerous amid an increase in arrests and a series of high-profile attacks on law enforcement and the public. New York Police Department Commissioner Keechant Sewell joined Adams and other NYPD officials for a press conference Wednesday at New York Police Department headquarters, where she spoke of the challenges we are facing in New York City every day. This is about recidivists who cause New Yorkers to suffer needlessly. And a recidivist is someone who does it again. Every day, as hardworking New Yorkers start their day or night of work or school, or to simply enjoy what this city has to offer, recidivist criminals are planning or taking the opportunity to commit their next larceny, their next robbery, burglary, or other crime, Sewell said. Their efforts are increasingly aided by the fact that the NYPD has arrested them. The criminal justice system fails to hold them appropriately accountable for their actions. These offenders face very few, if any, repercussions despite committing crime after crime. So anyways, they get arrested. They're released on their own recognizance. And they say, look, we just arrested you for robbing somebody, but we're going to let you go. Here's your court date. Now, we ain't going to charge you any bail or anything, but here's your court date. Make sure you show up. Well, you're dealing with a freaking criminal here. So the criminal, in the criminal's mind is, it says, well, not only am I not going to show up for court, I'm going to take a shot at robbing somebody again because I may not get caught. Now, if I do get caught, they may let me go again. Or they may incarcerate me, in which I'll get 3 squares, 3 hots and a cot. You know what I'm saying? This is insane. This is insanity. Who didn't see this coming? Who didn't? Everybody saw it coming, but a certain group of them thought, man, this sounds good. Probably help get us a vote. So that's why we're going to do it. This is idiotic, moronic. Now you see other liberals say, wait a minute now. This ain't working. Eric Adams is the mayor of New York City. He's turning against it because he wants to get reelected. Okay. Ultimately, I don't think he cares about the crime. Maybe he does. Maybe that's not fair. But I do know he cares big time about getting reelected. So he's going to say, hold on now. We can't do this no more. This is insane. Let's stop it. So maybe they'll listen to him. Who knows? If they're thinking to get them votes, they'll listen. If they think it won't matter, they won't. Simple as that. What else is in the news here? I'm making sure I don't miss any more bids. 75 is the high bid right now. Anyway, we'll keep talking about that. BNPL inclusion in credit reports causes growing consumer concern, survey claims. All right, so that kind of wraps up that news feed. Scope of result in Kansas abortion vote shocked Democrats. I think it shocked the nation that it was so big, 20%. I mean, that is a shocker there. So 20%, of people don't want legislature telling them or making any rules or laws about abortion in the state of Kansas. So it is a bit of a shocker. The question is, will those shock waves resonate across the midterm elections? The left is hoping it will. The right is hoping it won't. Simple as that. I still contend that I think the House flips because people are going to vote for their wallet. Now, if prices start coming down or there's something out there that makes us feel like we're coming out of the recession that we're in, then all bets are off. But as it stands right now, I think the House flips, and I think the Senate stays the same, or the Democrats could possibly take a seat or two away because you got some retiring senators. You got some highly contested seats, and we'll see what happens there. Less than 100 days away, so I don't know. Biden has signed an executive order aimed at safeguarding abortion. It's, if I remember correctly, I read it a couple of days ago. It's related to someone traveling from a state that doesn't allow abortions to a state that does. His order is protecting them, and it's in its words saying that they're going to be able to get the abortion in the other state. So, but we'll see what happens there. Of course, China firing the missiles near Taiwan and live drills at PLA encircles as PLA encircles the island. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it may be a little intimidating to the Taiwanese people, but I don't look. I kind of look at China now as I do Kim Jong Un in a way. Now I know that China's a little bit more high tech. They're more precision oriented. They're better. I get all that, but when it's kind of like Kim Jong Un pitches a fit, so he shoots a missile into the ocean. That's kind of the way I see China doing that. The reaction's not matching the bluster. When you say that there'll be repercussions and that we're going to light somebody on fire or we're going to blow a plane out of the sky or something like that, you don't do none of those things, but yet you have quote unquote exercises for 3 or 4 days after she leaves and you do nothing but blow up water. That's not very intimidating to me. I don't know how the rest of the world feels. It's really not a provocative act to me because I already knew they could do that. I already know that China, if they wanted to, could probably blow Taiwan off the face of the map. I know all that already, right? There's no question about that, is there? I mean, the only question is, how are they going to react? Are they going to be so mad that they go ahead and invade? Will they invade before the next presidential election? I mean, think about that. If all these conspiracy theories that we talked a little bit about yesterday, if we were to get into some sort of skirmish with China over Taiwan while the election was going on, how would that affect the election? So there's that. I don't know. So again, it's just not, whatever the reaction is right now, it is just not that intimidating to me that China's doing that. Again, I don't live in Taiwan and I don't see, the water blowing up around me. So it may be a stark, reality. I don't know. Big B says, look to the southeastern sky, rocket launch from Cape Canaveral. You see it right now, B, or are you just saying it's going to be coming? What do you mean there? J.R. Carter, Republicans in Georgia should be blamed for backing Herschel Walker. There's no way he's going to beat Warnock. Walker has been misleading and a lot of his past, the new ad about Walker holding a gun to his ex's head. And the real reason for a majority of his public speaking was actually community service hours is pretty damning. Yeah, it is. But now, Raphael Warnock has some domestic abuse or domestic squabble allegations in his closet too that'll come out again. Didn't hurt him first time. So, but now I do agree on the premise that we need to be blamed for backing Herschel Walker. I did not vote for Herschel Walker. I thought it was silly. Still think it's silly. And I'm like JR. I think Georgia's going to pay for that. There were better candidates that could have possibly beaten Warnock. And can Herschel Walker do it? Yeah, he can do it. He can. I mean, if enough people show up to the poll, I mean, it's just as simple as this. If he gets enough votes, he wins. But I don't think it was the best. I don't think Georgia put our best foot forward. I just don't. Bobby says, I think the House and the Senate will flip. I don't know, but I don't know. I don't know about that. I would not agree with that. Again, you could be right. I could be right. We're guessing. I mean, I get it. I just, from what I'm seeing in the candidates, the fundraising specifically, I think that the Democrats' strategy of voting in the right challenger, I think it may pay off, and it don't have to pay off, but in about one place, and they hold the Senate. So, but I hope I'm wrong. I'd like to wake up and see that and again, Not that we'll do any better with the Republicans in control. What it will do, though, is keep everything divided so it would hinder a little bit. That's all I'm hoping for. So, and that ain't very much. That ain't very much. Most jumped on the Walker wagon all because of his glory days at UGA, but not this old country boy. Yeah, me neither. But you're probably right. That's probably why. That and the combination of getting a lot of Democrats votes. Monica Lewinsky should run for president. She paid her dues. Oh man, if they really wanted it, they would just take it. Taiwan, are you talking about, Bobby? Yeah. I think they're just trying to measure or calculate the world's reaction to them taking Taiwan. Which is, I don't know. Again, everybody knows foreign policy and foreign affairs is just it's just not my strong point. So I look at this and before this past year, I should say, or before this past few months, I would have thought, short of the economic implications that it would have to the rest of the world or possibly to the United States, I kind of thought, well, if Taiwan's always been a part of China and they take it, nobody's going to say a whole lot. That's kind of the way I looked at it. And ultimately, I don't think the world's going to, they may say something, but I don't think they're going to do a whole lot. I mean, look at Russia and Ukraine. They marched right in there and attempted to take Ukraine, and the world really and truly, in my notion, hasn't done a whole lot about it. Are we helping them? Yeah, we're sending them supplies. We're sending them, missile defense systems, and we're helping them, but we're not. We've stopped short of actually getting in there with it, right? Taiwan will be the same way. So I think China has been measuring this. So China, if they want to do away with this problem once and for all, Nancy Pelosi's visit paved the way, in my opinion, for them to do just that. Now, the question will be, what will the world reaction be? Specifically, what will be the U.S. reaction? I think it'll be much like the Ukraine reaction. I think that we'll help Taiwan from a distance, but I don't think we'd actually get involved. But I could be wrong. I don't know. Again, admittedly, my foreign policy predictions and knowledge is the weakest part of my repertoire. Brandon Blatt says it just disappeared from sight. I guess they're talking about the rocket launch. Big B says I saw it on TV, but my viewpoint from Rocket City is skewed by trees. Jared Carter, I'll read that in a second. Let's take the phone call. Good morning, caller. You are on the air. What's on your mind today?
Morning, Steve.
Good morning.
Hey, I just wanted to share something with you. I just got to see what I presume was SpaceX launch. It was a rocket, and as usual, I wish it had been a little darker. It would have looked a lot better, but man, I tell you what, I hope everything's okay. As it's going along, all of a sudden, it looked like the rocket's cut off. I mean, you could see you could see the glow from the rocket engine,
right?
And all of a sudden, I couldn't see it, and the smoke plume quit. So I don't know, maybe it went into a different stage or what. But I hope everything's okay. But I want to share once again, that's amazing to get to see something like that so far away.
It is, and it's strange. Your timing is impeccable. I don't know if you were listening, but we were just talking about that. One of our listeners said that it was taken off, and there was a couple that saw it. Now you called in.
Oh, really? I missed that.
Perfect timing. Yeah, perfect timing. But I'm glad you got to see it, and I echo your sentiment. I hope everything's all right. I wish I could have seen it, and I've never seen anything like that. So it'd be cool. It would be cool to see. But that's exactly what you saw. It was the SpaceX launch, and I'm watching the news. I haven't seen any reports of anything going wrong as of yet. So I hope it was like you said. It just entered into a new stage, and you didn't see it.
Yeah, I tell you, I guess that's the third, maybe fourth one I've seen. And if you can catch them right before daylight or anytime during the night, it's amazing. It is truly amazing.
Very cool. That's on my bucket list. I want to see that. That's cool.
Huh?
I said I wanted to see that. That would be cool. That's on my bucket list to try to catch one at some point.
Yeah, and they posted, and I had forgotten about there was going to be one today. The last launch they had, I looked it up. You can pull it up and see and catch the hours.
Right.
But anyway, man, I just wanted to call and share that with you. That's cool.
I'm glad you did. Let me give you an update on my tractor situation. You know, you would text me when I was talking about my tractor being down. And I went over that thing for hours trying to figure out. I knew it had to be some sort of safety switch like you were talking about, but I couldn't find it. So I drove down to the Kubota dealership and I talked to his name's Alex. He's in the service department. Wonderful young fella.
Yeah,
and he told me, he says, look, he said, it can only be two things. He said, it's either it's a hydrostatic. So he says, either that pedal's just not in the sweet spot or your PTO thing you engage your PTO. He says, it's got two metal tabs. And he said, sometimes it'll get ahead of one of them tabs and it won't make contact. So I said, okay, I appreciate it. And then of course he said, if I couldn't fix it, let him know. He'd run out there and take a look. So I got there, and as I drove up to the back of my tractor and got out and was walking up, from the rear view of the tractor, you can see the PTO engagement shifter there. I spotted it right away, exactly like you said. One of them little tabs that it just had gotten in front of it where it couldn't make contact, and it took me literally 2 seconds to get it back right and fired it right up. So shout out to Alex Bueno at Kubota. He really helped me out, and I was really impressed with him. So, but we got her back running.
Helped me out. Well, I tell you, I can't explain this one, but occasionally mine will do it. Matter of fact, it did it this past weekend, and I checked my connections, and they seem to be good. But I'll sit there and I'll hit that starter. It's sort of like the solenoid or the what do you call it? It's stuck.
Yeah,
it won't do anything. It'll just kind of click.
Yeah.
But about the 50th hit, it fires up.
Huh.
And I can't explain that one, and they haven't either. But anyway,
that is a strange one.
I was going to tell you, if you didn't get it, just keep hitting that starter. If you hear that click, just keep on, and after a while, it might catch. But yeah, I've had that problem several times.
That's crazy. That things will drive you crazy. All them switches and all those safety valves and all that. It's just, man, it's just more that can go wrong. I just miss an old Ford 5000 where you just got on it, put it in gear, let the clutch out, and you never had no problems,
Yeah, I started to bypass those safety switches, but then I realized I first thing I wouldn't do it a week, and I'd be cranked it up and run over myself or something. But
it could happen. And
I tell you, let me tell you what happened to me. I don't think I told you. I turned my tractor over.
You did tell me.
Ground.
You did tell me. You did tell me. You told me who helped you get it back turned over and everything. Yeah, I know the story. That's kind of. Yeah. I didn't want to bring it up, but that's what I was alluding to when I said, you might turn it over or something.
Yeah, keep those safety devices on there. I didn't think I started taking roll bars off. I thought, there ain't no way I'll ever turn this tractor off on this flat ground around this country.
You're the reason.
And, if I didn't.
Well, your story is the reason I didn't take mine off. When you told me that, I said, I guess I'll leave them junkers on there. But I've had some.
I could not believe it.
Yeah, I'll get out there and get to working with my bucket out there, and I'll get bold. You know what I mean? I'll get to trying to push over stuff that's probably a little bit too big to push over, and it'll rear it up on the front end and all that. I ain't taking the roll bars off.
Good idea. All right, man. Steve. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate you sharing. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
All right. Bye-bye. 229-469-1417. Whatever's on your mind, that is what we want to talk about right here on Freedom with Steve Nichols. That's what the show's about. 229-469-1417. Yeah, I want to see a rocket take off. So Kevin says, I saw one a year or two ago and got some pictures before daylight, and actually WCTV used his pictures. That's pretty cool. J.R. Carter says, I think the Republican puppet masters were so desperate for someone who had Trump's backing to run, they threw Herschel up, and the mob bit the bait. Yeah, I don't know. Could be. T-Rex says when it disappears, it went out of the atmosphere. Oh, okay. That's pretty cool. That makes sense too. I guess it just disappears and you can't see it because it went out of our atmosphere. Richard Todd, JR, thanks for getting back to me. That said, if I were a Georgia voter, I'd personally be much more inclined to believe a police report or court documents than a testimonial from an opposing candidate's election ad, but that's just me. Yeah, that is just you, Richard. And that kind of goes along with what I say when I say that people don't do their due diligence and check these stories. The politicians and the media have learned that if you speak it, it is the absolute truth to a large portion of the country because they're not going to go check it. If they see a report, in other words, you could read tomorrow. Let's just say hypothetically, somebody that did not like me, they could just write something tomorrow negative about me that whatever. They could write it negative, and many people would just believe it. They just wouldn't go. They just wouldn't go check it. They just say, "Well, he did it," and then they'd repeat it. And then whoever they repeat it to, they would trust the person that repeated it as a reliable source. It's called rumors. That's how they happen. Divorces, it's bad in divorces or breakups. He did this. Well, it becomes the gospel, even though it may be a bold-faced lie. We just do not verify or check it. We don't. If it's the 4 T's that will cause trouble, tatas, testicles, tires, and transmissions, is that? Aaron Spice says too much computer crap on all vehicles, including farm equipment. Yeah, on a tractor now. I mean, you don't even drive the tractor when you planting or plowing or harrowing or anything. You just set your GPS coordinates and the tractor will do the rest. Mary says, Craig Peters, my late husband, and I did as well. We had just gotten off our cruise ship that docked at Port Canaveral. We had been on our honeymoon and had no idea that there was a launch scheduled. It was awesome to see. That is a good story there. That's cool. Carlson is a master at spewing word vomit that is not true. Yeah, I don't watch him, so I don't know. I think they all are. I mean, I don't know one that hasn't been guilty of repeating a story that wasn't true. You can do it very easily. I've done it. You have a trusted news source that you usually use, and then you read it, and it turns out to be fake or false or inaccurate, and then you have to amend it. That's the difference between me and some of the talking heads. When I find out it's wrong, I say it, because I do not want to fall victim of that. It's happened on Facebook where you see something. It's sometimes it's from someone that you always trust, and you put it out there, and it seems to be later found out that it's inaccurate. Then all you can do is amend it, or you can choose to let it fly and be part of the problem. So it goes both ways, I suppose. 229-469-1417. Let's look at the weather. We hadn't said anything about the weather. Sunshine this morning, scattered thunderstorms developing in the afternoon, high of 92 degrees, winds light and variable, chance of rain is 50%. Tonight, some clouds, a stray shower or thunderstorm is possible, low of 72 degrees, winds light and variable. That's your Recycle Center Equipment weather report. 900 Boundary Street's where they're located at in Quitman. They open at 9 a.m. this morning. You can call them at 229-563-5300 for all your recycling needs. The Fish and Game report, it is getting a little more favorable than it has been in the last few days, at least to the for the daytime type fishermen. It's pretty good at 8 p.m. It's well up into the good range at 8 p.m. So you could get out there if you wanted just to be in the good range. You could get out there about 6 and fish to about 9:20. And that entire time you're fishing, you are in the good range. Early in the morning, 6:20 a.m. is the peak, way up into the good range. That's actually the peak of the day. So if you went fishing at about 4 a.m. and didn't stop till about 9 a.m. That's a 5-hour strand of being in the good range. Makes sense. It was similar to that yesterday when Jimmy nailed a 7-pound 9-ounce bass right in the honey zone right there of the Fish and Game Report. Fish and Game Report brought to you every day by my buddy Reed Hall, who owns Plantation Creek Real Estate. And I want to tell you about a gem of a deer hunting tract for sale. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own place to hunt, but you don't have a whole lot of money, you look for a small spot that's in the right spot. And this is it right here. This is an 18-acre tract in Turner County, just bordering the Ashburn city limits. And I'm going to read what Reed wrote about it. I was hesitant to do this because I'm jealous and I would like to buy it for myself, because he has got 42 pictures attached to his Facebook page that shows some absolutely stud bucks on this 18 acres. It is in the sweet spot. He writes, small tract, big bucks. Don't be fooled by the size of this property or the proximity to town. Not too often does a hunting property of this size come available that has the capability to be that true honey hole. This 18-acre tract borders the north side of Ashburn city limits, but has everything a bow hunter needs to be successful. Property is primarily made up of upland matured pine and hardwood mix transitioning to creek bottom. Aside from the aesthetics of the mature timber, this property offers 2 established food plots, creek, good road system, a power line, has an area perfect for a camper without compromising the quality of the hunting. It's quite evident from the trail camera photos, mostly daylight pictures at that this property has what it takes to produce a big South Georgia buck. And I'm telling you, I'm looking at the pictures, folks. There are some stud bucks on that 18 acres. It is incredible. And it's listed for only $79,000. And that ain't going to last long right there. If I had $79,000, I'd be buying that right there. I'm just telling you, I would. That's a dream piece of property. So you guys out there, if you know of anybody that might be looking, y'all contact Reed Hall, Plantation Creek Real Estate. If you need his number, I got it. And I'll be glad to help out. Glenn texted me, what is the bidding up to? It's up to $75. Miss Mary has the top bid as we speak. And if anybody sees a higher bid than that, y'all let me know, because there's a chance I could miss it. But $75, Glenn, is the highest bid. If you're listening, I'll text it too, just in case he can't hear. The bidding will be closed at the end of the show tomorrow, and then we'll make arrangements to get you hooked up. All right, what else here? Let's look at CNN's some of their news. Alex Jones, he was caught in a lie about Sandy Hook, and I think we all knew that Alex Jones was lying. Well, I shouldn't say all. There are some crazy people out there that do believe that it didn't happen, but it was obvious during the trial that he was doing that to make money. He made a shit ton of it too, hundreds of millions of dollars off of it, but he's being sued now. The dishonesty of right-wing conspiracy theorist Alex Jones was spotlighted in a Texas court on Wednesday as a lawyer for a pair of Sandy Hook parents cross-examined the InfoWars founder and fact-checked his answers in real time. I got a slight problem with, and they all do it, and I know why they do it. I mean, if you're on the left and you or you make some radical statement or you do something and you're branded a left-wing conspiracy theorist or a right-wing conspiracy theorist, let me tell you something. Most people never believe that it did not happen. Okay. If they started hearing things that led them to believe it didn't happen, they waited, they did more research, and they quickly debunked that. It just so happens in this case, Alex Jones, leans right. So now he's a stain on everybody on the right, and we're all lumped into the same category as all believing and supporting in the delusional mind of Alex Jones. And that's just not the case, but that's the way it works. The jury hearing the case will determine how much Jones will have to pay the parents. Neil Heslin and Scarlett Lewis. I met Mr. Heslin personally when I attended the funeral, who won a default judgment against him earlier this year. An attorney representing Heslin and Lewis has asked the jury to award $150 million in damages. Jones, who was the sole witness for the defense during the trial, did not fare well Wednesday as he was cross-examined by the plaintiff's attorney. In a remarkable moment, Bankston disclosed to Jones and the court that he had recently acquired evidence proving Jones had lied when he claimed during the discovery process that he had never texted about the 2012 Sandy Hook shooting. Bankston said that Jones's attorney, in an apparent mishap, sent him 2 years of cell phone records that included every text message Jones had sent. Can you believe that? Jones's attorney apparently, if you were to believe this, accidentally sent all the text message and cell phone records to opposing counsel. I call bullshit on that. I think he probably did it on purpose. Now, I may be wrong, but I bet you that he did it on purpose. You don't make a mistake like that. I'd love to get Sam's opinion on that, but I don't think you make a mistake like that. Maybe you do, but I think it's also possible that that attorney got to know Alex Jones and got to know what a maggot he is and what a maggot he was and how he tried to exploit that tragedy for his own personal gain. And he probably said, I'm going to accidentally hit the text message here. And Rhonda says now Jones has a case against his attorney. And I think she may be right. I think he might can sue the pants off his attorney. So maybe it was an accident. I don't know, but it's sure that's egregious. And as much as I despise Alex Jones, under the Constitution of the United States of America, he is entitled to a defense. And if his defense attorney was derelict in his duty and made the catastrophic error, either intentional or unintentional, to send all the evidence, private text messages and cell phone records of his client to opposing counsel, I believe he's got a case, but I may be wrong. The cell phone records, Bankston said, showed that Jones had in fact texted about the Sandy Hook shooting. That is how I know you lied to me when you said you didn't have text messages about Sandy Hook. Bankston showed Jones a text message exchange he had about Sandy Hook, but Jones testified that he had never seen these text messages. Lying under oath, Alex. When reminded, Jones had testified under oath that he had searched his phone during the discovery phase of the trial and could not locate messages about Sandy Hook. Jones insisted he did not lie. Jones baselessly said in the aftermath of Sandy Hook, in which 26 people were killed, that the incident was staged. Facing lawsuits, Jones has since acknowledged the shooting occurred. Jones said in a 2019 sworn deposition that a form of psychosis caused him at the time to believe it was staged. That psychosis was called greenbacks, Alex. And in court on Wednesday, Jones said that he does believe the Sandy Hook shooting happened, saying it was 100% real. In another notable moment during cross-examination Wednesday, Jones was asked whether he had connected Maya Guerra Gamble, the judge overseeing the trial, to pedophilia and human trafficking. When Jones denied having done so, Bankston played video for the court of an InfoWars video, which did just that. In the video, Jones attacked Gamble's prior work for Child Protective Services by claiming the agency had been exposed for working for pedophiles. Gamble, whose office did not respond to an earlier request for comment about the fact InfoWars has been attacking her in such terms, laughed when she saw a screen grab from the video. The person on the left of this image is our judge, correct? Bankston asked Jones. Jones replied that it was. Attorneys for the plaintiff said Tuesday that they intend to ask for sanctions against Jones for being dishonest on the stand, and Gamble on Tuesday had also admonished Jones for having violated his oath to tell the truth twice. You're already under oath to tell the truth, Gamble said. You've already violated, that oath twice today in just 2 examples. It seems absurd to instruct you again that you must tell the truth while you testify. Yet here I am again. This is not your show, Gamble added to him. After Jones finished testifying Wednesday, the defense rested its case and closing arguments got underway. The jury could potentially decide how much it will award in damages to the Sandy Hook parents as early as this week. The current trial is the first of 3 that will determine how much Jones will have to pay multiple Sandy Hook families who sued him and won default judgments. If I was on that jury, I would try my best to set a world record as to how fast I could get back in the courtroom with my verdict. 229-469-1417. Y'all can call Abraham Adade. He is the king of the forces from Otherworld. He needs all the military agencies to get me out from Ghana. This message is coming from the king of the forces from Otherworld, the one true king of the all-seeing eye. Y'all can call him at 233-245-722246. Good luck, Abe. We have a Fifth Amendment for a reason, just saying. Yeah, he should have kept his mouth shut. Oh, Lord. I'm just looking. 229-469-1417. Latest subpoenas suggest that the DOJ probe could be aiming squarely at Trump. That is a post on, an article on an analysis, an opinion piece on CNN, if you want to look at that. What else is on here? I'm trying to see if there's anything. Mystery sinkhole appears near Chile mine. Those are always interesting articles to me where a sinkhole pops up. Pig research shakes up what we know about dying. We need to know about this. Researchers at Yale University say they have been able to restore blood circulation and other cellular functions in pigs a full hour after the animal's death, suggesting that cells don't die as quickly as scientists had assumed. With more research, the cutting-edge technique could someday potentially help preserve human organs for longer, allowing more people to receive transplants. So that'd be a good thing. The researchers used a system they developed called Organ X, which enables oxygen to be recirculated throughout a dead pig's body, preserving cells and some organs after cardiac arrest. These cells are functioning hours after they should not be. The Harvey and Kate Crushing Professor of Neuroscience and Professor of Comparative Medicine, Genetics, and Psychiatry at Yale, who led the study. So we'll see what happens with that. These cities are better at enduring extreme heat. Here's what they're doing different. I sort of marvel at some of these reports where a city in our country endured 3 straight days of 95-degree heat. And I marvel at that when I endured 1 straight week, 5 straight days of 105 and 6-day heat. Now that's the feels like temperature. It got up to 108 one day, but it never got lower than 102 that particular week. We worked full days out there. We did not perish to death. So what did I do different? I don't know. I worked out there in it. I drank a lot of water. I think we're just kind of climatized to it. But anyway, let's see what they say. Blistering heat has returned to Western Europe as some countries like France enter into their 3rd wave of the summer with temperatures expected to reach over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, while more than 80% of the U.S. population will experience temperatures over 90 within the next week. This means hundreds of millions of people living in urban areas are again desperately trying to stay cool. The climate crisis is making extreme heat more frequent and last longer, but cities without thoughtful design can make life even hotter. Air conditioners might keep the indoors cool, but they only add to heat outdoors. And in most cases, they are adding to the climate crisis by increasing planet warming emissions. Public transportation may be unbearable on a hot day, But driving a car that runs on gas instead just worsens traffic, also adding to heat and emissions. A lack of trees means a lack of shade, and buildings made of dark materials bring hotter interiors, which means more air conditioning. It's a vicious cycle, but there are other solutions. Here's how 8 cities are taking some of the heat out of their suburbs. Medellin, Colombia is grow trees on the streets, not just in parks. It shows a picture of a lot of trees out there, creating a lot of shade. That's a good idea. Now, I will say when I'm out there working, I try to make sure that when I hit an area of shade, it takes me a little longer. When it gets really hot, people with air conditioning might stay indoors, but not everyone has that luxury. Who won't stay in all the time anyway? For cities that aren't on the coast, parks that offer shade are a good option. Colombia's second largest city, Medellin, however, has created an entire metropolis of shade with its award-winning Green Corridors project. The web-like network has transformed 18 roads and 12 waterways into lush green cycling lanes and walkways that connect the city's parks and other frequently visited areas. So lowers the temperature there. Vienna, splish, splash, splosh. They got some fountains going over there you can run through. Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates use old cooling techniques and modernize them. Parts of the Middle East are some of the hottest inhabited places on earth. Temperatures in Abu Dhabi can climb to more than 120 degrees. Air conditioning is seen as a necessity, and people tend to spend a lot of time indoors. But people here haven't always had air conditioning. And an ancient Arabic architectural cooling technique has made a comeback with a modern twist. Mashrabiyah refers to the latticed screens often seen in Islamic architecture, sometimes surrounding a small balcony. They diffuse sunlight and keep buildings cool without completely blocking light. They're designed to encourage a breeze and offer a spot of respite from the heat within a building. That is essentially to stop direct sunlight landing on a building's exterior. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Miami, target heat traps. In a lot of cities, catching the bus can mean a long wait. If it's really hot, the wait can be all the more punishing unless, of course, that bus stop has been thoughtfully engineered to include natural shade. Medellin in Colombia may have proved that urban forest or simply planting more trees can cool a city down, but Miami-Dade County has put a lot of thought into exactly which parts of the city need cooling the most. Neat Streets Miami, a board convened by the county council, recognized that bus stops have become real danger zones during the heat wave, so they planted trees around 10 stops. So that's a good idea. Athens, work with what you got. Not every city has an ancient aqueduct at their disposal, but the Greek capital of Athens, I thought they were talking about Georgia. The Hadrian Aqueduct was once used as a main water source. Water today isn't drinkable, but the city is looking at ways to salvage the 800,000 cubic meters of water that flows off as waste into the sea each year. One use will be to irrigate new green belts to run all along the 20-kilometer structure. The water will also be used for misting like in Vienna. Los Angeles paint the town white. So obviously they paint the dark surfaces white. That creates a little cooler place. It's a little more controversial. Some cities have experimented with painting rooftops white to reflect sunlight and keep buildings cool, but Los Angeles went a step further. Is painting roads white. Dark things like asphalt absorb sunlight and emits the energy back into the air's heat. Painting the asphalt white would theoretically nip that process in the bud and lead to cooler air temperatures. The idea has some merit. Researchers Ariane Medell and V. Kelly Turner found that the technique did cool streets themselves around 10 degrees, but there was a major knock-on effect. Same researchers also said it was likely that the extra heat reflecting off the roads was being absorbed by people. So that might not be good. Paris, they got some spray jets, unless they get really organized. Spain, they got little fountains, water everywhere that you can swab and wash your face down with. So anyway, there you go on that. All right, I'm going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. You are listening to Freedom with Steve Nichols right here on the Freedom Networks. And we'll take a break and be right back. So y'all stand by. It won't take long.
fear is gone. If you made it this far, you are an official freedom fighter. Don't forget to visit freedomnetworks.com. Click on featured advertisers and support these businesses. They can advertise anywhere. They choose this show as a way to support the effort of preserving and defending freedom. Now, back to the show with Steve.
All right, back on Freedom with Steve Nichols, brought to you by Sam D. Dennis Law and Kirby Family and Cosmetic Dentistry, among others. But we do appreciate them guys being the top two sponsors as far as the show sponsors go. We top two positions there. We appreciate each and every sponsor you see on the ticker down here. That we've got Apex Tree Service, Crump Heating and Air, Watford Pools, Plantation Creek Real Estate, Plantation 59 Apparel, Honeybee Fit, great place to work out right there in Hayhires, T&B Farms and Fencing and Landscapes, Kings Gate Self Storage. I spoke to Tim Huff last night. Crown Produce, awesome group of folks down there, right down the street there. Dixie Woodworking and Crafts, my buddy Shade Trees company. Recycle Center Equipment, Infinity Tech, JT's company. Retriever Merchant Solutions, that's John Milam. He can set you up with the latest in credit card and debit card point of sale purchase equipment. SGAwater.com, Sam Dennis Law, Kirby Family and Cosmetic Dentistry, Ross Automotive, Doughboys Pizza, which is awesome. Dr. Spencer Price is a contributor to the show. We appreciate him. The Hydraulic Shop, Faucet's Tire. I just got 2 tires from Dale the other day. Didn't want to, but I had to. Valdosta Transmission, Jumpin' Jays Inflatables, and several more coming. Harry Flythe, his mosquito control company's on board. I've got to finish up getting his stuff. I'm working on the production of the show, getting a commercial set. We're going to be shooting video commercials. Going to be good stuff coming your way. So y'all stay tuned. But I appreciate y'all thinking of those companies first when you need something. 229-469-1417. I was accused via email of taking the China response to Taiwan and to Nancy Pelosi and all that stuff, taking it too lightly, that it's a serious thing. I don't think I'm taking it too lightly. I didn't mean to come across like that. I'm just saying that their words and their words and their actions, their retaliatory actions don't line up. They just don't line up. Before she came, they said they ain't gonna put up with it. There was talk about blowing her out of the sky from some of the media. They said that, that very strong language, and that all that don't match what they're doing. But I'm going to read the summary here that appears in the BBC and of what they're doing and what they've done, and y'all could be the judge. And I'm just telling you my opinion. Hell, if you got a different opinion, that's fine. But China has launched several ballistic missiles into the water around Taiwan's northeast and southwest coast. Now, I'm just going to break it down. This is just my opinion. We already knew they could do that. It's China. They're technologically advanced. They can put pinpoint ballistic missiles probably on the head of a pin, just like we can. They shot the water around Taiwan. Everybody knew they could do that. I'm just saying, what does that accomplish? But anyway. The launch is a part of live fire military drills, China's biggest ever in the region around the island. This follows top U.S. Democrat Nancy Pelosi's controversial visit to Taipei in the face of warnings from Beijing. I mean, the way the world's looking at it, I think many in the world is looking at Nancy Pelosi ain't scared of you, Xi Jinping. Some of the affected areas are just 12 miles off the island, the closest Beijing's military exercises have ever come. Okay, I get it. Maybe that's a little intimidating if you live in Taiwan, but I believe if I lived in Taiwan, I also got to know that China could blow us off the face of the planet pretty easily. We're an island. We're only 100 miles away. I get it. So it might be a little intimidating there, but again, it's not shocking. To me, it's not. I don't know. Taiwan says the move, which stops ships and planes from using the space, violates its sovereignty and amounts to a blockade. I get it. I get that. And that's probably one of the most effective things that they're getting across, effective points they're getting across. But I don't know, man. I just can't. I don't think it's all that big of a deal myself. Good morning, caller. You're on the Valdosta Transmission Hotline. What's up?
Morning, my friend. How you doing today?
Doing good, brother. Doing good.
You know, this would be the perfect time for Beijing to attack.
Yeah,
I mean, they've got Brandon in office. I mean, what better shot do you have?
Well, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I got to agree that maybe it would have. I mean, and I'll be honest with you. I sort of thought this was a possibility that they would be so pissed, or at least give the illusion that they were that pissed, and use that as a look. We told you not to do this, so you've made us play our hand now. Now we're invading Taiwan. I kind of thought it was the perfect time. If you're China and your goal is to take Taiwan back, that's when you should have done it, in my opinion. Now, I think they still might do it before the 2024 presidential election, but I think they missed a golden opportunity. They had an excuse, right? Now, whether or not the world accepted it as a valid excuse or not, I'm not saying that,
Right.
But they had the excuse, and they've chose to just blow up some water around the island in a throw my sucker in the dirt fit. That's the way it looks to me.
Well, my opinion is that this was a bone to Nancy. You know, her husband's been in trouble. They just made a big killing off of some of the stock, basically a pump and dump on some of their stocks that they have with China. So this may be a way to help make Nancy look good, because Nancy is going to do their bidding. So they say, yeah, we got to help out Nancy. But I think that's a good possibility. This is that. Is just it's a show. The Chinese don't get angry; they just do it. They're very unemotional when it comes to foreign policy.
Well,
yeah,
I disagree. I disagree with that based on the last couple of weeks' rhetoric over Nancy's visit. I mean, they kind of come unglued and unhinged, and they were very emotional, saying that they were going to blow her out of the sky, saying you better not do it. We're going, they were very emotional, very unhinged, very. They were pitching a fit, and now they're blowing up the water around it. I don't think I would classify Chinese leadership as uber emotional.
Well, I think this is basically to help her and the Democrats. I don't think they will invade Taiwan eventually.
How does that help? How does that help the Democrats if China invades Taiwan? In your opinion?
No. They're not going to invade now, but they will when at the opportune time. Let them clear the midterms, that kind of thing. It's just like the Russians waiting on Trump to leave. Once Trump was gone, they had a free shot to take out Ukraine. Although they seem to have bit off more than they can chew. I think that whatever our enemies are, our adversaries, they know they have a pretty good sized fifth column within the United States. So I think that's part of their calculus. But we'll see what happens.
Like I always don't hesitate to do. Foreign policy, I admit, is my weakest area. There's no doubt. So I basically I'm admitting I don't know what I'm talking about. It just seems to me as a casual observer, I kind of agree with you that they're probably waiting on the most opportune time to invade Taiwan.
Yeah.
My problem right now is, I think they had a great opportunity right there, and I think they blew it because I can't see them invading Taiwan. Just because an election is taking place in the United States in 2024, I don't know why that would be more advantageous to them than doing it right now.
Yeah. Like I said, they've been around for a few thousand years. They can exercise patience. Remember, North Korea always makes these proclamations that they're going to nuke everything, destroy everything, this kind of thing. I think this is more of that. The North Koreans haven't done it yet, and the Chinese aren't going to do it right now either. They're going to wait at the most opportune time and do it. All this rhetoric, I'm fine with all their rhetoric. It just means that they're just I think they'll do it eventually, but just not right now where it would alert Taiwan. I mean, Taiwan's on full alert right now.
Well,
I mean,
of
you
course,
don't
yeah.
attack something that's on full alert. You wait until, it's dialed down a bit and they've dropped their guard. So, yeah, this is the time where there's not going to be a war. And I think, like I said, mainly to help Nancy in her political situation. Remember, these guys work for the Chinese, and Nancy is no different. So
Yeah, I've been doing a lot more research lately. I mean, it goes in spurts. I'm trying to learn more about the Chinese and the American relationship, and we all tend to spend a lot of time thinking that China has us by the balls, and I think there's.
they absolutely do.
Well, we also have them by the balls in many areas, and I think that's something that people, we don't look at that, but China is very dependent on us on certain
Sure.
things, So the question becomes to me is, you got to watch the moves they're making to try to become more independent from us and more not dependent on us, but independent from us. That's what we're screaming here too. Like, I mean, I do it all the time. We've got to figure out a way to make America first. We've got to be self-dependent, self-reliant. We don't need to depend on China for anything. Well, China looks over here and they got to be thinking the same thing. You know what I mean? They got, in other words, they get aircraft, they get airplanes, they get soybeans, they get cars, they get microchips from us,
Yep.
There's a lot of things that they're dependent on us from. They get certain medicines from us. So if we were to have a war right now, I got to believe if it was an all-out war, okay, that part of that war package would be that China would not sell us anything anymore and the U.S. would cut them off too. So I think that keeps us from getting in a war, and that adds into the calculation that China has to make about Taiwan. And they got to sit there and say, well, what will the U.S. do? What will their reaction be? What will the world's reaction be if we invade Taiwan? Well, we know from Russia invading Ukraine that one of the biggest things we're going to do is we're going to sanction China. We're going to try to cut off any kind of Chinese oligarchs. We're going to freeze bank accounts. We're going to do this, but are we going to really sanction them to a point to where if they sanction us, it hurts us? So it's almost, and I'll get called a racist and all this, and I don't mean it. It's just a term that we're in a Mexican standoff. No offense to the Mexicans, you know what I mean? So, I don't know, man. It's a cat and mouse game. It's a traditional cat and mouse game.
Well, it's kind of like what you alluded to with the Mexican standoff. We're afraid of offending that kind of. You're not afraid of offending, but just as a country, we are too woke to win.
Mm-hmm.
We are way too woke to win. The Chinese aren't woke, and when those two philosophies meet on the seas and on the battlefield, guess which one's going to win?
Yeah.
Overwhelmed. The Chinese are a lot more serious than we are. We will get shellacked.
Mm-hmm.
We will absolutely get shellacked. We do not have the will to win. And Taiwan will be given up to China eventually. I mean, they've got a plan, and I think eventually when the moment's right for them, they'll take it. Yeah, they'll take casualties from the Taiwanese. Don't get me wrong. And Russia sure as hell miscalculated, but the Chinese will use whatever resources it takes at the right time to take Taiwan, and we're going to be sitting there looking like Poindexter. Our country is past its golden days. If we had a Ronald Reagan or Donald Trump in there, they would have never attacked Taiwan. Russia would have never attacked Ukraine. But we've chosen weakness, and it's showing. It's showing every day. So, Steve, again, you're doing a phenomenal job, and we appreciate it.
Thank you,
out here,
Theo.
okay?
Have a good day, brother. Appreciate the call.
You too, man.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Bye-bye. 229-469-1417. I don't anything I say about all that is just honestly it's pure speculation because I just don't know. When he says something like if Trump or Reagan or somebody would have been in the office, Putin wouldn't have tried to take Ukraine. I got a text message while I was talking there asking me why don't I comment on that? Do I think Putin would have tried to take to Ukraine if Trump was president? I have no idea. I don't have any basis to make a statement on that. So I don't know. I mean, I don't. It is a complete and utter guess on my part because I just don't know the ins and outs, and I'm not willing to just. I'm not willing to make some sort of prediction. I mean, Bobby May says, why wouldn't he? And I kind of agree with Bobby on that. I don't know why he wouldn't have attacked Ukraine if Trump was president. If he wanted to attack Ukraine, I don't think. And I'm going by what I think I've read. Trump's comments on Ukraine. Had Putin invaded Ukraine, I don't think he'd be doing a whole lot different. I do know, like Mary says, I do know that he was president and Putin didn't do it. We do know that. That's factual. But did he not do it because Trump was there? Did he had a fear of what he may do? I think there's merit in that. A lot of people think that, Trump was unpredictable and there was just this fear of him and how he would retaliate. I think that has merit. But I don't know. I don't know. I can't make a prediction on whether he would or would not. I just don't know. I don't have enough information to make. It'd be just simply a guess. It would be a guess, and I'm just not going to guess. I mean, when I do guess, I'd like to have some sort of basis for my guess, some sort of logic to back it up. And I can't. So I don't know. I think it's 50-50 from where I sit, but I may be wrong. I may be right. I can't be wrong or right, I guess. I'm not making a prediction. To Bobby's point, it is hard to guess what someone might do or what might have happened. I'm not into mights. I don't know. I'm into facts. And the fact is, Ukraine was not invaded when Trump was there. Trump's foreign policy victories are, to me, they're astounding and impressive. What he did in the Middle East was incredible. Why he didn't win the Nobel Prize for it is beyond me. It is probably the biggest accomplishment since Reagan ending the Cold War. I mean, it was monumental, and not a word because they hate Donald Trump. They hate him. 229-469 1417. I don't know if y'all are seeing the comments from I think some of these comments on YouTube show up in my feed along with the Facebook, but y'all probably don't. Are y'all seeing the post from Abraham Adade, Adade, and from the, what's this other one here? It's called the there's been a lot of comments since I saw that one, but I won't. From the Anunnaki Terrorism and Human Trafficking Extortion Group. Have y'all seen that one? And the one from Abraham Adade. Are y'all seeing those? Because those come in, I think, on the YouTube feed. Aaron says he sees them. So you see them on. Are you seeing them on the Facebook feed, Aaron? Abraham says the information I sent those blaspheming with me have exchanged money for it, believing it can stop the military from getting me out from Ghana through spiritually marriage and the snake on top of my head spiritually. There's obviously a breakdown in the language there, and basically I have no idea what the hell Abraham's talking about. Maybe y'all can decipher it. I saw a couple of while back when he made a comment regarding Russia. Yeah, that's what I don't know what that is all about. That's yeah, I mean, Adade, are you or Abraham, are you in jail in Ghana? That would be my question to you. You can answer that. What else? Anyway, we are dependent on China, but China's dependent on us too. And I think we lose sight of that. It's a bot, Renee answers. I don't know nothing about all that. I don't know what it is. I have no clue. All right, so China, response to Nancy going is to blow up the water. Banned oligarchs exploited a UK secrecy loophole. Zawahiri's victims, how it feels to hear he's gone. Orban alone in Europe, among friends in Texas. That's the Hungarian leader. He's going to be addressing U.S. Republicans in a visit here in the United States. What else? Alex Jones concedes Sandy Hook. This is in the UK. This is the BBC, news. So we're watching the Alex Jones trial too. Immoral oil and gas profits must be taxed. Now, I'm going to talk about this a little bit. I read this last night, and I'll read a few lines to it. But this is the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres. He has called for oil and gas companies to face special taxes. He bases this on some interesting comments or an interesting viewpoint. His comments come as surging energy prices sparked by the war in Ukraine push industry profits to new highs. They're making a crap ton of money right now. There's no doubt about it. They are making money hand over fist. BP, Shell, Exxon, they're all raking it in right now. Mr. Guterres said it was immoral for firms to be profiting from the crisis. Russia's invasion of Ukraine in February has worsened the global shortage of oil and gas, disrupting access to oil and gas from Russia, major supplier, and driving prices higher. While households are grappling with higher energy bills, companies are reaping the benefits. Together, as well, BP recently reported its largest profit in 14 years, while Shell's profits in the April to June period hit a record as well. Together, four of the biggest energy firms, Exxon, Chevron, Shell, and Total Energies, earned nearly $51 billion in the most recent quarter, almost double what they made in the same period last year. In other words, $51 billion. That's 5 months of U.S. aid to Pakistan at $10 billion a month. It's a shit ton of money, right? How does the windfall tax on energy firms work? Energy giants see profits soar as bills rise. This grotesque greed is punishing the poorest and most vulnerable people while destroying our only common home. Now, let me just stop right there and say this. Who is the arbiter of morality and profit? Who sets the standard? Who sets the maximum? Who is the person, the organization, the board, the czar, that determines in their infinite wisdom that you are making enough money and we need to cut you off or we need to tax you because you're making so much? I don't like the fact that I'm having to struggle at the pump. I don't blame that on Exxon and Shell and all them just because they making $51 billion in profit off the world market and off the demand for oil and diesel and gas. I don't blame them for that. If you cut their profit in half, what would that translate to at the gas pump? Do you go back and do you look at any years that they struggled, the quarters that they didn't make much money? Do you look at their exposure? I run a company, I run a business, and I know this much. If times are lean, depending on how lean they are, I might not make it through. So in theory, when we get to the point that we become profitable, and frankly, we're going to get there. It ain't going to be long. Well, I mean, we're on the verge. I'm not going to be able to take all that money and start going and buying that 18 acres up in Turner County and this, that, and the other. I've got debt I got to settle, but once I get to that, once I settle debt and I pay people back that's helped me get to where I'm at, current listeners, when I get to that point and I start making money, I can't spend it all. I've got to set some back, because you know what? That old thing that your parents told you got to save for a rainy day. I remember it raining in 2006 and 2007. I had money put back. I was doing well at that time, very well. But what my dad didn't tell me, he said, you got to save money for a rainy day. But he didn't tell me how hard it was going to rain and how long the storm would last. Because when it started raining in 2006, it rained and rained and rained and rained until it exhausted everything I had. And I wasn't the Lone Ranger. It hit the housing and the construction industry across the board hard. It put many people out of business and many people back to square one and back to broke. So these oil companies, $51 billion in 1 quarter, ain't no way to say it. That's an insane amount of money. It's a lot of money. That's a big industry. That's an expensive industry. So who makes the decision that they have enough? Who makes the decisions on what they do with their money? Did they take that profit and spend it all buying yachts and homes in the Orient? Or did they put a lot of that money back in updating equipment, expanding their capabilities? Who makes those decisions? Who best to make those decisions than the people in the oil industry? Now, you can fall for they making too much money thing. So if we're going to go down that line, how much is enough? How much is enough? Most everybody listening to this program is not a millionaire, right? Most people have not had $1 million. I think most people don't have $1 million if they liquidated right now, sold all their property. Many listening would still be negative. Many listening don't have a net worth. Those who have a net worth, it's not a lot. It's in the thousands. It's not in the millions. It may be in 100,000 in some cases. So my point, how much is enough? If that's what we're doing here, if that's the question, how much is enough? I want an answer. How much is enough? Is $1 million enough? Is $1 million a year enough for you to live? Is that the standard? You're damn right it's enough. You ain't never made $1 million. I don't know a person on this feed right now, a person that's listening in, not a single person that I know of that's currently logged on that made $1 million last year. Think of the most money you've ever made in your life and ask yourself, was that enough? I'd argue that it was, because here you are listening, right? You ain't dead. You ain't homeless. You either got a cell phone or a computer. You listen to the show. You probably work. You probably have a car. So whatever you've made in the best year of your life, it was enough, right? So who is who judges that? Who sets that standard? Who tells BP that you're making too much money? Who tells the American people through the Manchin Inflation Control Act or whatever it's called that if you're making X amount of money a year, you got to pay more taxes, whether it's 200,000, 400,000, a billion, 10,000? Who makes these decisions? Who makes these decisions that you were making too much money, so we're going to tax you at a higher rate. We're going to penalize you for making too much money compared to the rest of us. Who is the arbiter of this? Who sits there in judgment of another person's circumstances? There's no doubt many people on here that I know or that I suspect make more money than I do, that they are more successful than I am. But never in a million years have I ever thought that anybody that I put in that category should pay more back to the government than me. They ought to pay the same exact percentage as I do across the board. Let's go to the phone line, 229-469-1417. Good morning, caller. You're on the Valdosta Transmission Hotline and not my personal cell phone.
Who did that?
You did it.
Who did that?
Oh, that's
Sorry,
funny.
I'm not awake yet.
I know, man. What's going on,
What we
Troy?
talk about again?
Yeah, I hear you. Talking about
You
money.
prompted me to call, and now I got all flustered, forgot.
Well, we're talking about money. How much money do you make? How much is enough? Who should decide how much you got to give to the government? You know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah, and gas companies and all that. Yeah, I think Barack had an answer to that. Didn't he famously tell the businesses, "Hey, if you've got a successful business, you didn't do that."
yeah, that's right. Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm pondering this, and I don't want the numbers, Troy, but I want you to think about your entire career, and the most you made in any one single year, the most successful year you've ever had, and it could be this year, it could be last year, it could be 10 years ago. It doesn't matter. But the most money you've ever made. The question I want everybody to ponder: was it enough, or is it enough? And I can go ahead and tell you, the answer is yes. It was enough.
Yeah,
it is
to
enough.
cover my basic needs, but I think the point is we all want more.
Absolutely. So if we aspire to have more and we achieve that, should we be penalized because we have the audacity to want it? No.
I guess if you're a leftist, commie, leftist, whatever the hell they are, I suppose.
That's right.
Detached
So
from reality.
that's exactly right. So they're sitting there on their throne and they're trying to decide how much is enough for Troy Cook. And here's the problem. The number that they deem enough for you differs from the number they deem enough for somebody else. Do they start looking at what a medical librarian should be allowed to make compared to what the doctors he does the research for are allowed to make? Should they be allowed to make more than you or less? Should they be penalized for it? Should they pay more? I mean, it's all ridiculous to me. My whole point to this whole conversation is that the government, they need to get out of our way and let us make as much as we can get our hands on, and we will gladly all give 20% back to the government. I think that's a gracious plenty.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. And I look at what our gas prices were under Trump, and they were coming up a bit when he exited stage left. But I think, as you pointed out, the futures and speculation weren't starting to look real good at that point, because the left had signaled what they intended to do with fossil fuel. But what Trump did with the oil industry, I thought was, and this is just my perception and my hypothesis on it, he took all the regulations off and let them compete. Let them bastards eat each other instead of us. and they're going to compete for our dollars, and that helps us. When they start competing, prices go down because they can get out there and do what they need to do to get product to the customers. It's just old free market. I thought it worked, but when you come in like Biden and this administration and signaling you're going to end the whole industry, and you're going to cap them and take away their ability to find these resources, price goes up. It artificially inflates the price. Price goes up. They can't compete with one another. So I don't know. That is what I saw happen.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It to
Something
me,
damn sure happened.
well, I know this much. If you I don't think I can calculate it real handily, but 15% of everybody that makes $1 billion or more, that's in this act, this Inflation Act that Manchin's trying to get passed. Now, forget all the other taxes in there. It's going to raise taxes. Most independent organizations are showing that it's going to increase taxes on almost everybody. $10,000 a year to $400,000 is going to increase. Now, some of those increases are smaller than others, but let's just forget those. Table those for a minute. What do you think logically if a company, first of all, you don't make $1 billion a year unless you own a company that manufactures something or sells something, some sort of goods or services. You don't go punch a clock and your paycheck's $1 billion. That ain't how you get in the billion. So if a billionaire who makes a product incurs a tax of 15% on their $1 billion, what is your logical conclusion about how they are going to react?
Well, they're not going to realize it. They're going to find ways to compensate, I would think.
And what is the number one? What is the first thing they're going to do? The go-to way to compensate for the loss of that 15%. What is the very first thing they're going to do?
Kick Steve Nichols and Troy Cook in the ass
by raising the cost of their goods 15%.
Exactly.
I mean, it's not rocket science. So if you want to kill the economy further, if you want to increase inflation, then you by all means pass an anti-inflation bill that raises billionaires' tax 15%. That's stupid.
Yeah, I just don't get it. I mean, I have a good friend. He has called this show, and him and I are about as diametrically opposed with our politics as two people could be. And we get to argue about it. And that's one of his arguments. How many yachts do these billionaires need? These billionaires running around on yachts. I got news. That since Biden has been voted in, all these billionaires are still floating around on their damn yachts, popping their $1,200 bottle of bubbly, laughing at all the idiots that voted Democrat. It hasn't changed their lifestyle a damn bit. So I don't even know where the hell that argument comes from and what they are even trying. They think that the Democratic Party is a crusader to somehow take care of these billionaires. They're going to separate these people that are smart enough to make that kind of money from their money. Those dumbass Democrats, the Nancy Pelosi's and your senator that you hate, Chuck, they're not going to ever figure out how to do that. They're not smart enough.
Yeah.
They're public servants. They'd be entrepreneurs out there with their own yachts and incidentally, they do have their own yachts, and they're living the $100 millions of dollars dream. They're all millionaires in the hundreds of millions of dollars on our backs.
Interesting pondering and questions and comments on the feed or by one guy. I won't call his name. Y'all can read it, but he says he's never heard of he's never met a medical librarian in his life, and seems to question you and your position. So I did a quick Google search just to do some research on medical librarians. How many of y'all are in the United States, if you had to guess, Troy?
Oh, a few thousand probably. I'm part of the American Medical Library Association, and I know I'm in a network of about 1,800.
Yeah, there's about 40,000 in the United States. 80% of them are female, so you're in the minority at 19.6%. Your average income is about $4,000 higher than your female counterparts. The percentages seem to hold true over the course of time. You have about 80%, 20% ratios from the early 2000s to now. It is a growing trend to become a medical librarian. So it's the number of medical librarians has risen about 6 to 7% annually since 2010. Those are just some quick stats on medical librarians and what you guys do. So there you go.
Well, I was an academic librarian first, but the good thing about librarianship is you can pretty much stay under the radar of a lot of the politics if you just remain a librarian. Of course, I rose up to dean at one point and found out, you're into politics at that point. So I shuttled my butt back down on the totem pole where I needed to be, stay in my lane. I like being a librarian.
Is your hospital
this is the best librarian job I've ever had? This is a great job.
Is your hospital group considered teaching hospitals?
No. They do some research, but we don't teach on the medical level. But they have a lot of allied health folks that come through, and a lot of our nurses are working on doctorate and advanced degrees. So I support that. Kind of glad I don't work. I trained at Mercer for medical librarianship, and that's where I received my medical librarianship training. And they were a teaching hospital. It's a lot different there than where I am. This is a practicing facility.
10-4. Well, that's just some information out there about you. You are a resident Hour of Freedom, non-paid position of medical librarian. So we appreciate you. Glad to have you on board, sir.
Heck yeah, man. Love listening. I like talking about politics.
That's right.
I like talking about how much I love Trump. That guy must be or lady must be an anti-Trumper. I want Trump back. I didn't even like him.
Well, let me ask you this. Would you, if DeSantis ran and Trump ran, who would you take, Trump or DeSantis?
Oh, man, I don't know. I guess DeSantis. I think I heard somebody talking on the radio the other day, a pundit, and they pointed out that if Trump gets back in, he's only going to have 4 years. We need somebody that has an 8-year agenda that's going to be in there for 8 years that can do well that first term and come back for that second. And
here's the thing. Here's the thing. This is the strategy. Many people who are in the Trump camp, the scenario they want is a Trump DeSantis ticket. For that very reason. Their theory behind that is if Trump goes in, he only has the 4 years to serve, as you point out. But then in theory, if DeSantis steps in behind Trump, then you got 8 more years of DeSantis. So in effect, you've got a 12-year window of Republican presidential leadership there. That's the theory. That's why many want a Trump DeSantis ticket.
Well, you should have been on that show. It was national and pointed that out because that's not where they were going. That's what I have to listen to when you're not on the air, Steve.
Yeah, well,
all that crap.
Well, I mean,
national folks don't know what the heck they're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, it is not. I mean, I didn't. In all honesty, I probably heard. I'm sure I heard. I mean, I did. I heard it somewhere or saw it somewhere. And that's how you get information. It wasn't an original idea by no means, but it's logical and it's sensical and it makes sense. But then again, that's what you're doing every time you run for president. If you are a Democrat or a Republican, you're trying to put together a ticket that in theory, and here was the theory behind the Trump-Pence ticket. What they had hoped for is that Trump would win, which he did, and that he would serve 8 years. And then Mike Pence comes in behind him and serves 8 years. So then you have a 16-year run, right? I think that's what you hope for every single time. When Ronald Reagan won, he was elected he was reelected. He served 8 years. And then guess what happened? Bush, who was his vice president, won, and he served did he serve 4 years? I think he served 4, didn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Big Daddy Bush, read my lips.
Yeah,
He
so
read
he
his
got
lips all the way out of office.
so that gave him 12 years, but the plan was that if he hadn't had a misstep there, he'd have won re-election and he'd have had 8 years. They'd have had a 16-year reign, for lack of a better word. I don't like that word, but it seems to fit politics now. So whatever's happening right now, both sides are contemplating. When the Biden-Harris ticket got elected, obviously they wanted 16 years. They wanted 8 of Biden and 8 of Harris. Everybody on the other side is hoping like hell that don't happen, including myself. So we're looking at what do we do now? Do we put together a Tim Scott, Trey Gowdy ticket? Do we put together a Gretchen Whitmer, whoever ticket? Do we put together the Trump DeSantis ticket? What will get us the furthest down the road? Let's just look at it this way. If Trump gets reelected on a Trump DeSantis ticket and it goes as planned and Trump serves his 4 years, then DeSantis, when he goes for his term, he's got to pick a running mate. So whoever he picks at that point, if he picks a good one and DeSantis gets in there and does a great job, and then you're looking at a possible 24-year reign, you know?
You know, that raises a good point. I wonder, do we know what party has held the reign the longest?
That's a good question.
Seems to me the electorate doesn't have a lot of stomach for it. They float them out. They vote them out.
Yeah, that does.
Pipe needs flushed every 8 years at least.
It does. Maybe. Oh well, here's a good question. Do you in your medical library, do you shh people?
No.
Troy's sitting in an office. He ain't sitting in the library. That ain't the way it works there. I thought
You
that was
shift a
funny.
bunch of doctors, and you'll be out the door. Probably.
That's
I lock
right.
myself up in my office and keep my head down,
That's
trying to
funny.
get this last pen in a nice, quiet place. I
I
think
hear
I've
you.
found it. I don't
Yeah,
judge anybody.
Keep your head down and build that retirement, baby.
Hell yes, I have had it with fight.
Oh, you're.
I will tell you this. I did put in for a job. I interviewed for a job the same time I interviewed for this one, and the salary about knocked me over. Oh hell, I'll go ahead and say it was just a little south of $200,000 a year for that job.
Mm.
I had no idea librarians made that money. I
That's a
sure
lot
as hell
of-
don't make it where I'm at.
I heard that.
But I'd probably take a bite out of the apple if and try a leadership role again of something that salary came my way.
Mm-hmm. I like them. I
And
like
absent that, hell no, I'm staying right where I can't imagine making more money for having a better job than what I do now. I just wish I was closer to it.
10-4, brother. I appreciate the call this morning.
All right, man. Have a good one.
All right, see you later. 229-469-1417. I'm trying to find really quickly, and then maybe I can do it during the break here, but I guess I do need to take a break. This is the top of the hour, 8 o'clock hour. So y'all stand by. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after I play a little music, do a little research. We'll be right back.
Wide awake now? We're honored and humbled to share this time with you each and every day. Please consider liking, sharing, and spreading the word by telling others to tune in. Send them to freedomnetworks.com and they can choose their favorite way to enjoy the show. For now, back to Freedom with Steve Nichols. Go get 'em, Steve.
All right, back on Freedom with Steve Nichols. I'm sorry about that, but I got into a groove trying to do some research on that question, and that's going to take a little bit more research time than I have right now on the fly. But that led me to realize I hadn't refilled my coffee cup, which is, with an hour left. Can't have that. 229-469-1417. Thank you for listening this morning. We're entering in hour number 3. Update on Joe Bakanovic. He will be coming on at 9 a.m. shortly. When I say shortly, within the next week or 10 days. He has his equipment ordered. He went all out. He ordered the Mac Daddy package, and he's going to do a good job. And I can't wait to see it. What we'll do is end up pushing each other and both trying to get better and better and better. So I'll give y'all more information as we get there on Joe's efforts. 229-469-1417. Good morning, caller. You're on the Valdosta Transmission Hotline. What's on your mind?
Good morning, Steve.
What's up?
Have y'all discussed the math behind the profits of these oil these oil companies?
Not necessarily, I don't think, JT. How you been doing, brother?
Good, man. How are you?
Doing good. Can't complain. I mean, I could. I got some things I could complain about, but I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
But anyway, elaborate on what you're talking about. Let's get into it.
Well, we know that they buy the oil on speculation, right?
Oh, yeah.
They buy it in a year in advance. So
Absolutely.
when they bought this oil, they bought it real cheap.
Oh, yeah.
And now the oil has gone up real high. They've made all this money. But this coming up year, they're going to have to buy the oil really expensive. And if the oil goes down, then they lose money.
Good point. Yeah. So let's penalize them for making a good decision. That's what.
It's not even a good decision. They had to take what was there.
That's true. It's a good decision right now, but it's going to bite them in the hiney on their future speculation, possibly. And that's the game. It's no different than the stock market. It's no different than the stock market. So do you penalize them 15% or 25%? I think the European or UK's, I think they're hitting them for 25%. Is that right? Do I remember that right? So my question is, do you hit them, on the flip side of that, next year when the prices is high and they bought it high and they're not making the money, you still gonna hit them at 25% for the misstep? You know what I mean? I'm with you. I think that's a great point.
It's just politics, man.
It is
always politics.
It's always politics.
And politics affect us.
Yep, it gets us in the middle, makes us choose a side, right?
Well, not only that, it's hurting our back pocket right now.
Yeah, interestingly, I did not partake in it because I wasn't near there. But yesterday, the BP station in Adel, Georgia, for a period of time, and somebody can elaborate on how much time, but they dropped their price at the pump for $1.99, and there was an absolute traffic jam of people trying to get in there and get that gas.
And you know who took that hit?
I don't know the details, but I'm
probably
assuming
the store owner.
Right, that's what that'd be my guess too. The store owner probably did that to give back to the community.
Didn't get permission from the oil company to do it.
No, and it being a BP station, if it had been across that brand of gas, there'd have been more than that one station doing it. So I think you're right.
Absolutely.
I think it was the local owner there. kudos to
And he
him.
was doing it just to help his community.
Help his community, and hopefully people went in there and bought, took the savings and went there and bought, a sausage dog or a soda or something in the store. So good for him.
And they will be back.
And they will be back. That's exactly right. That's where I get gas
where
and
he's
they
gonna make his money.
That's right. You know exactly. You've been up there. You know exactly which one it is, right there in the Doughboys parking lot. So it's a good one. That was a good move. But anyway, yeah, you're right. I mean, I think it's great to point out that they buy this oil way in advance on the speculation that they can make money, and they hit it right. They speculated and they hit a home run. It was a great business decision. So as a reward, we're gonna penalize you for it. That's the attitude of the Democrats.
Again, it's not so much as a business decision on what you have to buy it for. If it's $65 a barrel, you have to buy it at that.
Well, when the decision is how much do you buy, and that's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah,
Like
it's
how
not.
many
Yeah,
barrels or whatever.
Yeah, you buy low, sell high. So when you see it at $30 or $40 a barrel, like it was under the Trump administration, I'm assuming they bought a crap ton of it. Whereas right now at 100, let me look right. I got to pull it up. Right now it is at. Let me find it. There it is. It's at 100. Brent crude's at $100.30 a barrel. So right now, I would assume, JT, and that they ain't buying a lot of it.
Exactly.
But,
yeah, you're right. Yeah,
but they bought a ton of it at $40 a barrel. I mean, so they're speculating. And right now, let's just be honest. If they speculate that it's going to go up to 150, then it's a deal at 100. So it's a court, it's a game. It's just, it's buy low, sell high. That's all. That's what they're doing. But that's a great point. I appreciate
if the common person knows this, then they can't be fooled by the rhetoric coming from both sides of the aisle.
Right. Yeah. I am not mad at all at any corporation in any sector that's making money. I'm just not mad at it.
Yeah, me neither. That's the whole freaking point.
Exactly. Let me tell you something.
And I would ask any individual who has a problem with it and say, if you figured out how to make $1 billion a year, and then you got the government coming in telling you, no, that's too much money. You can't make $1 billion a year. You better dial it back a little bit, or we're going to tax you. That's so stupid.
It is. It's
nobody's going to agree to that.
No, it's anti-American. I promise you. I know you. If me and you had the chance, if you called me up and said, Steve, or I called you up and said, JT, look, man, I've got it figured out. We can buy this 50 acres and we can put a solar farm on that 50 acres. And I've calculated, JT, that it can't miss, brother. I'm just telling you, we got to do it. We're going to make $1 million a year. Guess what Steve and JT is going to be doing? We're going to be in the solar farm business with the quickness. You know what I mean? It's just going to happen. I mean, that's the American dream. It's the American way. Now we're not going to get together and invest in a satanic memorial and charge $10 a head to come visit it. We got morals. We got standards. We're not going to do that. But I ain't above making the money off a solar farm. I can promise you that.
No, I mean, neither.
Yeah. So
no, I wouldn't be either.
Anyway.
All right. Well, it's good to holler at y'all. I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention whenever they start talking about all these profits being made from these oil companies and stuff.
That's right. That's good perspective. I appreciate you sharing that with us. Good stuff, man.
All right, buddy.
All right. See you. All right. 229-469-1418. Good to hear from JT. And that was some good input right there. Good input. Renee says, let's all pitch in. Excuse me. Let's all pitch in and buy that 18 acres, but not for solar panels. That's right. Oh, yeah, we ain't gonna put the solar panels on the 18 acres. Can't eat off a solar farm. That's true. All right. 229-469-1417. Let's look at some other headlines. I don't think I've looked at MSNBC. Not that I expect to find anything very interesting over there, but I do check it from time to time. Let's see. The lead headline says, Republicans are about to deeply regret their whole midterms election strategy. All right. I want to, first of all, what is their strategy? But let's look at the article. And this is an opinion by Michael A. Cohen from MSNBC. He says, historically, there is one basic truism about midterm elections. The party in power usually gets routed. That's totally accurate so far. Moreover, the more unpopular a sitting president is, the worse his party does in November. Again, that is absolutely accurate. Considering that President Joe Biden is currently polling in the high 30s, Republicans should be licking their chops about the election to come. Yet in primary after primary, Republicans seem intent on snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. Now, this is where, he hooks you into trying to figure out, well, why do you say that? On Tuesday night in Michigan and Arizona, it was more of the same. Republican voters selected nominees for the House, Senate, and gubernatorial races, each bringing with them more baggage than a fully booked Boeing 747. Let's start in Michigan, where Representative Peter Meijer, one of a handful of House Republicans to vote to impeach then President Trump, was defeated in a Republican primary by former Trump official John Gibbs. Meyer's district was already redrawn to give Democrats a better chance of flipping the seat. And now with Gibbs on the ballot, their odds have increased dramatically. Now, that is strictly a matter of opinion right there. And I don't know if I agree or disagree. I tend to probably disagree, but let's keep looking. In fact, the Cook Political Report has already changed its ranking on the district from toss-up to lean Dem. Well, that's not because of the candidate. It's because of the redrawing, I would imagine. In the governor's race, GOP voters nominated Tudor Dixon, a former businesswoman who has said publicly that she believes a child who becomes pregnant from rape or incest should be forced to carry her baby to term. It's a small wonder that incumbent Governor Gretchen Whitmer is consistently polling above 50% in hypothetical matchups with her GOP opponent. She is likely to trounce Dixon in November. Now, that I agree with. That is, I've looked at some of the statements that this Tudor Dixon has made, and that's one of them that's going to bite her. The general public on both sides of the political aisle, when it comes to abortion, would never support someone being forced to carry the baby to term in the situation of rape or incest. That is going to bite her. Now, the question will become, can they overlook that? Can they explain that away? Can they say, well, she may believe that, but all this other stuff she wants, she can actually get done. She would never get that passed. It clouds it muddies the water and gives Whitmer an advantage in that statement. Now, the question is for Michiganders who look at Whitmer is to make the prediction or the assessment that she's worse, that her track record as governor in Michigan is horrible enough for them to choose over Tudor Dixon. And I predict right now, if nothing don't change, and I could be wrong, I don't think Whitmer's going to get beaten by Tudor Dixon. And I think that the Democrats knew that, and they instructed, or there was maybe there was insinuation, but I believe based on the facts I'm reading that the Democrats, out of everybody running on the Republican side, they wanted Tudor Dixon to be the nominee for Gretchen Whitmer to go against because of things like this. So they stormed the polls and put Dixon over the finish line because they believe Whitmer has the best chance of beating her over all the others. Now, did that happen? I think it did. I could be wrong. In Arizona, Republican candidate Blake Masters won the GOP nomination for the U.S. Senate. Masters has called for a national abortion ban. Now that, let's just say declared in an ad that Trump won the 2020 election and faced questions about writings in which he has approvingly quoted a Nazi war criminal. In the GOP gubernatorial primary, Carrie Lake, who has fully embraced Trump's lies about the 2020 election, holds a slim lead. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. But I think this is, so far, I don't find the analysis all that far-fetched. But let's keep reading. Lake has fallen off the proverbial 2020 conspiracy tree and hit every branch on the way down. That's actually funny. She refuses to acknowledge that Biden is the legitimately elected president. He has said she would, as governor, not have certified the 2020 election. and has called for an end to the machine tabulation of votes, and instead wants the state to conduct a hand count for all elections in the state. Indeed, even before all the votes came in last night, she said voters should not trust the results unless she prevails. In recent election cycles, Arizona has switched hues from red to purple, and with Masters and Lake at the top of the ticket, Democratic chances of winning in November have significantly improved. I agree with that. I agree with that statement. Democratic Senator Mark Kelly's chances for re-election look far stronger, which also means the Democrats have an excellent chance of holding their slim majority in the Senate. I agree with that too. That possibility has already been helped by Republicans nominating hapless and extremist candidates in a host of key battleground states. Now, I don't necessarily agree with the adjectives hapless and extremist when it comes to the Georgia GOP Senate candidate Herschel Walker. He is not hapless. He's not extremist. He's got some issues, but I would not categorize him as that. I do think he was the weaker of the candidates we had to choose from, but that's just my opinion. In Pennsylvania, the GOP primary winner was Mehmet Oz, which remains an odd choice since he doesn't actually live in the state. He resides in New Jersey. Oz's opponent, Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman, has been hammering Oz on the issue for weeks, going so far as to recently start a petition drive to have Oz inducted into the New Jersey Hall of Fame. It's perhaps not a coincidence that, according to the most recent Fox News poll, Oz trails Fetterman by 11 points. Oz's favorabilities, unfavorabilities among state voters is 35-55, which, for those of you who are new to politics, is not good. That was a facetious comment. As if that isn't bad enough, Pennsylvania Republicans also nominated Doug Mastriano for governor. Mastriano believes the 2020 election was stolen and was even on the grounds of the Capitol during the January 6th insurrection. During a GOP primary debate, he said banning abortion was his number one issue. He opposes abortion. none of the abortion stance, depending on how harsh it is, and the election stance, I don't think personally that's going to be a big issue in any of these races unless there's some inflammatory statement that kind of crosses the lines of the norm. Like he says in the case of abortion and incest, and like the female candidate said in those cases, that's going too far, and I believe that can bite you, because I've talked to many women who are conservative and who are anti-abortion, but the majority of those believe that if you are raped or you have a conception in the case of incest, that nobody should force you to have that baby. That's the overwhelming belief among conservative women. Okay. So I don't think that's a good stance. I just don't. So anyway, you can read the rest of that on MSNBC. I don't really find much, inherently wrong with his opinion of what I read. And I didn't read it all, but anyway, I think his analysis is pretty accurate. That's just me. A barrel of oil is 42 gallons, not 55. That is correct. It's 42-gallon barrels. We could get a co-op going with that land, or a compound when crap hits the fan, gardens, chickens, and deer, fishing if there's water. It's all good ideas, Renee. 8 people, 10 grand each. Yeah, that would buy it. That's right. And honestly, there's probably opportunities to do that closer to home, Renee, that if we all thought about it and figured that out, we could grow a big garden and get together and do some canning and stuff like that. Why don't we get together and buy some cows and put those out there too? I think that's I think that's something we should consider. I hope that I'll be in a position to be able to help consider that in about 6 months. We'll talk more about that later. But I think that's a good idea. That's got my interest, really. Wade Staub, Vets and Cops Outdoors, just got a 15-acre farm to hunt in Ohio. It's some of the best hunting in Ohio. Good luck. Wade, I don't know if you know it. You may have came on late, but Glenn Tyler, and this is a good time to reiterate this. Glenn Tyler has he's going to be smoking some Boston butts on Saturday for a birthday party. He ended up with an extra one, and Wade, he thought of you and thought of Vets and Cops Outdoors, and he called in this morning and he offered up a smoked Boston butt for auction, with the proceeds going to benefit Vets and Cops Outdoors. And right now, Mary Williams has the high bid. She bid $75 on that smoked ham, and we're going to run the auction into the show tomorrow. And at the end of the show, we'll see what the winning bid ends up being, and we're going to award the money it raises to your organization, Vets and Cops Outdoors. This is Glenn's idea, and I'm just helping facilitate it. So there you go. You got some money coming to help offset that trip to Ohio. And we appreciate what you do with Vets and Cops Outdoors. Glenn and I also spoke yesterday. Glenn is a go-getter. Now, when you get an idea and he's on board, he's going to move and shake. He's already lined us up a hay trailer, compliments of Scott Nobles, and we appreciate it, Scott. But he's got the hay trailer lined up. And we're going to decorate it up. So Renee, everybody, Wade, everybody that wants to participate in this, we are going to enter a float in the parade, the Veterans Day parade that's going to go down in Hayhira, Georgia. Dwayne Roark is putting that up with Vet Team 6. He's doing this. He's organizing it. We're going to participate in it. I ain't even talked to Dwayne about it, but I know he's going to be up. We're going to help it. We'll get Dwayne in here to talk about the parade and talk about the inspiration behind it, what we can expect. He had a meeting. I saw on his Facebook post. He had a great meeting with the mayor and the city manager and the Main Street program. And Hayhire is embracing this, which makes me even that more prouder of my hometown. And we're going to bust it out. We're going to make a float. Glenn and I was discussing ideas and themes. We're going to get Scott to send us the dimensions of the float so that we can start getting a line on decorating it. And I'm going to need you guys to step up and help us decorate that. And I'm leaning on y'all's creativity. I'm leaning on you, Renee. We want it to be patriotic. We want it to be celebratory of our veterans, and it to be a celebration of our veterans and our country. So let's do it. 229-469-1417. So anybody that's got a bid on the smoked Boston butt, we'll get it to you. Either I or Glenn will meet you with it, or whatever we got to do. Right now, the top bid is $75. And let me just tell you this: if you haven't, you probably hadn't, unless you were at my house at our gathering that time a couple of years ago. Glenn knows what he's doing. This is going to be probably one of the best Boston butts you've ever had. I mean, it is good. So it's right up there. Tim Crown and the gang at Crown Produce, they do a great job. I mean, it's right there on par with that, and it is excellent. So y'all just y'all come check it out. Let us know how to donate to the expenses of the float. John Roundtree says we will. I don't expect it to cost a lot of money, but we will. We'll probably get some sponsors involved to help offset the cost too. But thank you, Jason, for that. But we've got Vets and Cops Outdoors banners and magnetic signs for the float. We'll definitely put those on their way. And we're going to, throw out some candy. We want to have a good time, and we want to celebrate our veterans that day and our freedom. What freedom we have is a sole result of the efforts of those who served. So 229-469-1417. Let's look at some other things. CoinGecko says that Bitcoin is going for 22,843.06, which is down 0.3% on the 7-day average. So we'll watch that. U.S. debt climbing still at an alarming rate. By the time I get through describing it, we'll have added $200,000 or $300,000 more dollars to the debt. I'm not kidding. I'm just going to count the $100,000 family. Listen to this: 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, 400,000. 500,000. We just added $500,000 to our national debt just during that few seconds of me counting it. Can you believe that? Charles says, Renee, it's strictly up to you, Renee, but I think it should look like an aircraft carrier capable of launching fruit and candy at the crowd from the launch catapults. Well, that is an excellent idea. I like that one, Charles. It would take a Herculean effort from somebody smarter and more creative than me to put it together, but I'm in. Make that joker look like a battleship, an aircraft carrier, and let's put some cannons on it that launches candy into the crowd. Let's just make sure we don't put too much behind it and put somebody's eye out. Don't need that liability. Anyone have a cannon laying around? Renee, that's funny right there. Yeah, we talked about the songs, but play all the branches songs. We'll just put them in a loop. I like that idea. We can have representatives or a representation. Yeah, that's right, Sid. That's funny. Sid and CH, they have a cannon. Forgot about that. But can we safely dry fire that cannon, Sid? I'm just thinking now. Put it on the floats, aim it up in the air away from everybody and just pop it off a couple of times as we go through. Can we do that, Sid? I'm liking it. I'm starting to get fired up about it. Southwind has one. That's true too. That's true. Forgot about that. John's got one out there. We need some noise. We need some noise. Ask CH about that. 229-469-1417. I'm also offering a trailer set up for flags. Might want someone with a better looking vehicle than my old truck. We're going to use my tractor, I think, to pull the float, Matt. So I didn't know you had a trailer set up, and I appreciate that. Shoot me a private message. Tell me what kind of trailer. We want to use the best one for the job. We do, but we're not going to have a problem with the trailer, it looks like. So that's good. A flyover during the parade would be awesome too. I think that's probably something that Dwayne might be working on. I don't know that for sure, but that would be awesome right there. Sid says, not sure. We were firing it one day and people around us on Facebook was asking if Moody was bombing. Yeah, we can get a sound effect that sounds like a cannon, but man, wouldn't it be awesome to have the cannon and the smoke and all that stuff? This is going to be awesome. I mean, awesome. I can't wait to talk to Dwayne. I'm going to call him right when I get off air and start getting more further down the line about this. Abraham still needs someone to call him to help him get out of Uganda. I think it is Uganda, wherever he's at. 233-245-5722-46. What else is in the news? Let's look. Vin Scully, passed away. That's sad. I watched a lot of videos of him over the past 2 days. He called Kirk Gibson's awesome home run in Game 1 of the World Series against the Oakland A's off of Dennis Eckersley. He took him to I know it was at least a 2-2 count. There was a runner on first. He ended up stealing second. And I think the count was 3-2. I'm not 100% sure, but Eck hadn't allowed a home run since August of that season. He was tough to hit. Kirk Gibson hobbles to the plate. He had a bad knee and a bad ankle on the other one. He could hardly walk, and he got up there and he jacked it. So he hit a 2-run homer to win the game, and it was just an awesome call by Vin Scully, and he's going to be missed in the baseball world, no doubt about it. What else? Paul Pelosi, they're walking back to claim that he was on drugs in his DUI arrest. Y'all can watch that. Clorox drops, eBay rises, and more. Thursday 5 things you knew about the stock market. The Tonga volcano erupting. I mean, it's a pretty good video of it if you want to watch stuff like that. Definition of insanity. We talked about the crime wave, linked to the cashless bail type stuff. So that's pretty much everything that's going on in the world right now, according to Fox. CNN, we looked at some of those things. Jurors in the penalty phase of Parkland's gunman's trial to visit Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School today. Man charged in the shooting of a robbery of Lady Gaga's dog walker was sentenced to 4 years in prison. Walmart laying off court employees. I covered that earlier. 80-year-old store owner shoots suspect who attempted to rob LA convenience store. I always like stories like this. Let's check it out. An attempted convenience store robbery by a suspect wielding an assault-style rifle was foiled when the 80-year-old owner grabbed a gun and opened fire. Get out of my store. I like it. The Riverside County Sheriff's Department said deputies were called to the business on Sunday around 2:47 a.m. following a report of an attempted armed robbery. Surveillance video obtained by CNN shows a man entering the Norco Market and Liquor Store and pointing a rifle at the owner behind the counter. I think this is the one where he said he blew his arm off, but we'll see. The owner then reaches for a firearm and shoots the suspect. The sheriff's department said the owner fired a single round from a shotgun. That's all it takes from a shotgun, which caused the suspect to flee. Let me tell you, for you guys out there that may be listening, I don't think it's really none of our office, but if you had to choose between getting shot by an AK-47 or an AR-15 or a 12-gauge pump shotgun with buckshot in it, choose the AR-15, please. You might survive that one. Your odds of surviving the single shot from the shotgun are really slim to none, and I think this guy did survive it because he got hit in the arm. But center mass with a shotgun, you're done. A lawfully armed member of our community prevented a violent crime and ensured their own safety while being confronted with multiple armed suspects, the department said. Beautiful statement by law enforcement. Promoting legal gun ownership. Lawfully armed member of our community defended himself and his property by shooting at the suspect who come in there armed. Good for him. The owner, who did not want to be identified to protect his privacy, told CNN he had seen an armed man approaching the store moments before he entered. Surveillance footage outside the store shows another armed man get out of a parked SUV and move toward the store just before the injured suspect runs back to the field, but apparently screaming, "He shot my arm off." Good morning, caller. You're on the Valdosta Transmission Hotline. What's on your mind?
Well, yes, I am.
What's going on, B?
I just want to comment about that story you was referring to just saying about the shop owner in California. What part of that store? And I'm proud nobody died, and I'm proud that the store owner is protecting his business and livelihood in his own life. But what part of that story stands out that you go,
What part of the story stands out that makes me go,
You missed it then. If I'm a store owner, I don't think I'm working at 2:45 in the morning.
Oh, well, let me tell you this.
Just being realistic. He may have to do what he got to do because ain't nobody no help. So.
Right. Well, that could be it. Yeah, I'm with you. I ain't. If I can get some help, the last thing I'm gonna be is being there at 2:47 a.m. That's true.
So, I just want to chime in on that. I didn't have nothing else, and I was just tired of hearing you actually read. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I just wish we'd have, and I'm starting to see it. And I think the bright spot is, I don't know how much of a bright spot it is, but it's somewhat of a bright spot, is that I'm starting to see more and more of these stories show up on news feeds other than Fox. This one I'm reading from is on CNN, and I'm glad they're reporting it.
Yeah, the Clinton News Network is finally doing something worthwhile.
Yeah, I've got I have stores that I stop at. I frequent them.
Right.
Depending on,
right.
Yeah, I mentioned the one in Adel. There's a couple in Cecil I visit. There's a couple in Valdosta I visit that I've developed relationships with people there. I know them. I'm speaking terms with them. I consider some of them friends. They are all armed. They have a gun. And I think the more we can get the word out, I think they are. I haven't had the conversation, but maybe I will. I think they need to make the customers extremely aware that they're armed, because I
And
believe
there's
that
certain bits.
that's a deterrence. That's a deterrence.
Sure.
I mean, and I think you were going to where I was going next. There are certain businesses that don't. That, I mean, they make people aware that you know these premises protected by Smith and Wesson. You know, they have signs on the door. There's places like, I know owners of certain businesses that wear their sidearm on their person visibly, and I'm not going to say none of them have ever been robbed, but I ain't heard of it.
Right. And what they're doing is, all they are doing with that presence is, well, two things. One, they're using their right, or should I say, help me with the correct word. They're exercising their right to do such.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, that's basically a warning. That's all that is. It's not a threat. If you see a person in a place of business, you know, this guy strapped on, even if you don't see it, that's fine too.
Mm-hmm.
But I would rather carry open so somebody knows that I have that weapon to protect my business.
Mm-hmm.
Then again, you have somebody on the other side will go, well, then you're going to be instant target. Well, myself,
mm-hmm.
from me looking at it, I'd rather me be a target than my employees or my customers, because especially, I'm not saying I'm no Billy Bad A, you know, but I got enough training to know to watch and to know when to pull, just like that 80-year-old fella did. He's seen the guy come, you know, walk in the door. Well, the first thing, if you look at the video, if you've seen it, this car backs up and backs into a handicap spot.
Mm-hmm.
And then two doors pop open out the back seat. Well, that tells me you still got a driver in the front.
Mm-hmm.
This is 2:47 in the morning. My alarms, you know, I'm all about attention. I got my hand on my weapon at that point.
That's right. I'm sure that store owner did. Yeah.
Right. And when the first guy walks in and he starts to raise that weapon, that's when the discharge happens.
Yeah.
You know. But anyway, the ones that kill me is the places of businesses that put the signs up. This is a gun-free zone, blah blah blah. Well, guess what? Two things. One, they've made themselves a soft target for somebody that wants to shoot the place up and hurt somebody or rob them. And second is, they took on the liability of the safety of their patrons.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly the way I see it. That's exactly the way I see it.
If they're not going to protect the safety of their patrons,
mm-hmm.
I'm not doing business with them. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, as far as the debate, the debate between wearing the sidearm visibly or concealing it, there's good arguments on both sides of that debate. There's no doubt about it. That comes down to simply an individual's thoughts on it. There's no right or wrong answer there. The common denominator that I think is great is that both people, the guy that's wearing it visibly and the guy that's concealing it, the good news is they both have a gun. And I think that's where we need to get to in the United States of America, given the fact that you've got idiot DAs and idiot law enforcement agencies turning criminals out to be put back out in society with no bail, giving them the opportunity to go harm somebody again. It's ludicrous. Ludicrous.
Well, just like you said, you made a point there about the weapon, whether it's open carry or conceal. To those who are against guns, I'll just explain it to them this way: it's like peanut butter. If you got creamy and you like creamy, great. If you like crunchy and you got crunchy, great. But guess what? You both got damn peanut butter.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? So eat it how you want to.
Yeah.
So,
see,
it's my choice. It's your choice. That's the part right there that people so easily forget, Steve, is the freedom that we're losing daily. Is our choices are being made for us instead of us making our own choices.
Yeah, everybody knows I believe in the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. Everybody knows I support the Second Amendment. But in all honesty, to me, having a gun on you to protect yourself has absolutely nothing to do with the Second Amendment. It just don't. It is natural. It is a natural law of nature to protect yourself.
Sure.
And in order to protect myself against someone or something, then if there is something out there available that equals what they're going to attack with me with, then by nature, I ought to be able to possess that same thing to defend myself with. So if they're going to come in that store at me with a gun, then by God, literally by God, by nature, I ought to have the same right to own and carry that same weapon that they're going to try to kill me with if I deem
Sure.
it or something greater, you know?
Sure.
I mean, if they're going to come in and try to rob me at knife point, I want a gun. You know what I mean? If they're going to drive, if they're going, well, you can go on. Everybody knows my point. It is natural. You know, yeah, the Second Amendment right guarantees it on paper and in the Constitution. It goes beyond that to me. It's just simple logic, and it's simple right and wrong. I ought to be able to protect myself and my family with a gun. Period. I don't need a law. I don't need a right. I don't need an amendment to guarantee me that. It ought to be just. It ought to be something we all agree on.
Correct.
Shouldn't
And
be
I'll
up to
bring
vote
this
for
up
the
real
vote.
quick. You know, in the past, I'm going to say 30 years anyway, 20 for sure, but 30 years, quote unquote, mass shootings with a particular platform type weapon has become easy for the, you know, the media to sit there and I'm going to say they make it look like it's an evil tool, you know, for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
The development of a fully automatic, high-powered weapon, the very first one, I think, I'm just trying to go back by memory, that was actually mass-produced, that was very efficient, not necessarily efficient to operate, but efficient at putting out lead, was this fellow named John T. Thompson. You ever heard of him?
I've heard of him. Yeah.
He was a retired brigadier general, 32 years service to our great country, when he developed the Thompson submachine gun.
That's right.
on the 45 ACP platform.
Mm-hmm.
You know, granted, it didn't have to have a shoulder stock, and the first weapons they produced did not actually. You had a front grip, but what I'm saying is that was in 1905. 1905. How many mass shootings happened just because he invented that weapon?
I don't know.
I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
It's not the weapon. It's not the tool.
No,
it's
not.
the evil intent with the person who's using it.
That's right.
And I could sit there and go, you know, we could dial on that from now on, but it's these that's in the news media right now, the shootings up in Chicago, outside Chicago, and then the shooting down a couple years ago at Valentine's down in Florida. You know, they're kids. I don't care if they're an adult now, and they was an adult at the time by being age 18, but their minds are not fully developed. I mean, they were able to obtain weapons, and there was different loopholes how they got them. I don't know that answer. The kid out in Uvalde, Texas, you know, that runs up a $7,000 credit card bill, you know, ordering stuff online and buying stuff. I mean, come on, folks. Somebody at home had to see what was going on. Mm-hmm. And for them not to do anything, they're just, in my opinion, they're just as freaking liable.
Yeah.
They're just as freaking liable. Well, look here, buddy. I got to step in here and see a man about a dog.
All right. Take it easy, B.
All right. See you. Bye.
Bye. 229-469-1417. There was an interesting comment here I want to talk about real quick. John Quest writes, they are showing these stories to lead the groundwork to show that you no longer need an AR for self-defense when you have so many other options via handguns or shotguns. I disagree with that based on what I see in the legislation that they're trying to ban in states like California, where they're trying to ban semi-automatic pistols, semi-automatic shotguns, and the AR-15. So I don't know about that. I think that's a little bit far-fetched. I don't believe that. I think it's I just think it's a lot of people overthinking things. Now, would I be surprised if that was somebody's intent or somebody out there saying, hey, you know, this may be a good strategy. You know, let's show that this guy can defend himself with a shotgun. He don't need an AR-15, so that lets us ban AR-15s. I'm sure there's somebody out there that are thinking along those lines, but never, ever, ever lose sight of what is the goal. The goal is not to ban AR-15s. That is not their goal. The goal is to ban you from owning a firearm. That's the goal. AR-15s is just probably the easiest target they could pick off. But make no mistake about it, it really don't have anything to do with AR-15. If it did, then they're just death toll regulators. That's my opinion. And of course, John, you're entitled to yours, and you could be right, but I just don't suspect it. I suspect the overall target is to ban the AR-15 and the shotgun that guy used to defend himself with. I think that's the goal. So the AR-15 would be in the progression of accomplishing that goal. Just my opinion, for what it's worth, and it's worth no more than yours, I might add. What else here? Let me see if I got anything else pulled up that I needed to cover today. Wrapping up some of the articles on the BBC. Man survives 16 hours in a capsized boat in the Atlantic. That's a pretty good story there. I'm not going to read it on there, but it's probably worth the time to read if you're not got nothing else to do. Shell staff get profits bonus as energy bills soar. There you go again. They trying to paint a picture of the big bad oil industry, and this kind of goes to JT's call earlier. If you can vilify the oil industry, it makes it easier to get rid of the oil industry, right? So the movement is towards green energy. Joe Biden, listen to what they're telling you. Joe Biden gets there the day or day after he's inaugurated, January 20th or 21st, and he says, I'm going to eliminate the fossil fuel energy. I'm going to get rid of them. So what are some of the things you got to do to get rid of them? You got to decrease your dependency on them. You've got to, in order to do that, you've got to vilify them. You got to say they're bad, they're terrible, they're killing the environment, they're raping you, they're enjoying $50 billion in profits while you paying $5 at the pump. You got to make them look as bad as possible. It's all a game. It's an effective strategy. It is turning the mush brains of the public against the oil companies. And I just think we got to start shouting it out and saying, look, they made 51 billion. I wish they'd have made 100 billion. Good for them. They hit a home run right now. I don't care how much money they make. I just don't care. There's other ways to keep the price of oil down, right? If there wasn't, it would have been $2 a gallon 2 years ago. So let's take that snapshot. Let's do what we've been doing. What was up with the gas? What was up with the gas station yesterday there with the $1.99 gas? I talked about that earlier. The BP station right in front of Doughboys was charging $1.99 for gas for a while there. And it was something they decided to do to give back to their community, give back to their customers. Hopefully the customers went there and took the savings and patronized the store, but that's what was going on. They sold it for $1.99. It was a promotion that they did. And it went out. It meant they had to have cops in there directing traffic. They did a good thing, and that's what it was all about. Kind of ridiculous to go after semi-automatic weapons when you can dump a pump just as fast. Yeah, we used to when we were growing up, teenagers, we'd have our pump shotguns out there, and we'd see who could empty it the fastest, and you can work it pretty damn fast. I feel very safe in my subdivision. We have 4 police officers and 1 parole officer living there, have an EMT and lots of 2A peeps. That sounds like a pretty safe place to be right there. Aaron spikes me too, Sandy says. I don't know what Aaron said. 229-469-1417. Got about 7 minutes if y'all want to get a call in. I'm all for it. 3 shot dead on remote Australian property. Man survives 16 hours. Shell staff gets bonus. Birds all over the world living in human rubbish. U.S. to probe claims sick turbines taken at border. Ukrainian nuclear plant out of control, UN says. Let's see what's going on with that. A huge nuclear power plant occupied by Russia during its invasion of Ukraine is completely out of control, the head of the UN's nuclear agency says. Rafael Grossi was quoted by the Associated Press news agency as saying that the plant needed an inspection and repairs. Good morning, caller. You're on the Valdosta Transmission Outline. What's on your mind today?
Good morning, Steve. This is John Schaffer.
John Schaffer, what's going on, my man?
Well, I sent you an email, and it has to do with the FBI's definition of militia violent extremist. Now, who could they be?
You send it today?
Yeah, I sent it this morning to ask Steve Nichols or.
Yeah, okay. If you send it today. Yeah, I see it, 8:06 a.m. Yeah,
yeah.
I'll have to read it, and I'll look at it. Leak document show FBI's definition.
Look it over and see if that's something you may want to discuss. Simply, when you read through it, you'll see that if you believe in the Second Amendment, then this document from the FBI says that you're probably a violent extremist.
Well, that's troublesome right there. From the without even, I will read the article when I get off air. I'm always interested in things you send me, but I will tell you this: if someone declares an amendment to the U.S. Constitution, the Second Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, if you view someone who believes in that as a violent extremist, we got a problem. We got a problem with that kind of person right there, because if you could make the stretch, then if you believe in this, if you believe that if your belief in the Second Amendment is extreme, then you also probably believe the First, the Fourth, the Fifth, the Seventh, and all those amendments are extreme. How dare you think that you should have the freedom to express your opinion? How dare you? How dare you believe that you've got the right to a fair trial by a jury of your peers? How dare you have the audacity to think that the government shouldn't be able to come in or should be able to come into your home and search it at will without a warrant? You're an extremist for believing these things. That is ludicrous.
It is. Those thoughts are very common with people that revere the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
But according to this document, that unclassified law enforcement sensitive FBI internal use only.
That is hilarious.
If you quote the founding fathers, then you are considered an MVE, a militia violent extremist.
Well, I have deemed, I've been, how, John, you've listened to me a long time, and I've always struggled to identify myself. And when I'm talking about that, I'm not talking about pronouns, he, she. I know I'm a him. Okay. That ain't what I'm talking about. I've been trying to figure out what I am politically. Okay. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a libertarian. I've been trying to come up with this creative acronym or who am I? Well, I now know, thanks to you and thanks to this phone call and thanks to this article, I now have realized what I am. And I am a CRE. That's what I am, John. I'm a CRE. You know what that stands for?
I can't wait to hear it.
I am a constitutional radical extremist. That's what I am. From this day forward, I will be referred to as a CRE. That is what I am. I'm a constitutional radical extremist.
Well, and I'm sure at some time, symbols of the militia networks may include CREs.
Probably will. Color me guilty. I am a CRE and proud of it, buddy.
It's funny. Some of the things that they reference is if you wear a T-shirt with the Gadsden flag, you're on their list.
That's right.
The Betsy Ross.
I saw that.
A picture of the Tree of Liberty. It's incredible, but it doesn't surprise me with all the crazy things that are happening. This is just another check mark on the list of, getting those ready that are going to, I guess, suppress our rights when the day comes.
Yeah, it's depressing, man. We gotta fight back. We gotta fight back. If somebody tells you that the Constitutional is that the Constitution is a radical dead document, you need to be screaming from the rafters. If somebody tells you that the Betsy Ross flag or the Tree of Liberty is something that's radical and extreme, what you need to do is get off of this show right now when it gets over and get online and order you as many T-shirts with the Tree of Liberty on it as you can. Order you some Betsy Ross flags and fly it on your property as high as you can reach it. And if we don't start fighting back in that way and in that manner, it won't be long. It won't. Well,
I'm gonna tell you, if the hits the flag, I'm gonna have me some doggone rainbow shirts so I can walk around in camo.
You'll blend right in. That's good stuff. That's a good strategy right there. Might be able to order me some rainbow shirts. I got you. I like it.
Yeah. All right.
All right,
go
John.
home, man.
See you, man. Appreciate it.
Bye.
I wish I could go home, but I do got to get out of here. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Renee says you can pre-order Don't Tread on Me license plates in Florida. That's good. That's good news. That's encouraging. Now you'll be labeling an extremist for doing so, but so be it. But yeah, that's what I am. I am a constitutional radical extremist. Or am I a radical constitutional extremist? Am I a CRE or an RCE? I'm going to ponder that before the show tomorrow, and then I'll get back with you. All right. Thank y'all for tuning in. Appreciate the sponsors. Appreciate all the listeners. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be right back tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. right here on freedomnetworks.com, YouTube, the Discord app, and Facebook. See you guys tomorrow.
We at Freedom with Steve Nichols want to thank each and every one of you for listening. Together, we will protect, defend, and promote the freedom as our founding fathers envisioned. We believe in the spirit of the Declaration of Independence and strive to protect that spirit daily. Please thank and utilize the goods and services of our sponsors and advertisers every chance you get. For now, we bid you farewell. Have a great day.